Good Saturday to you all, and welcome back to the Cretaceous period. We're here on Secrets of Silvercreek with the Stream Punks, and we're all tired and really excited to play at the same time, which is making for a weird mix of energy. How's everyone doing? Everyone's muted. Don't bother unmuting. Just enjoy the relaxation period before the game. Before we start off today's game, just a couple of quick announcements. This is our penultimate episode for Secrets of Silvercreek. Again, this campaign was possible through an unlock on our fundraiser that got the Streampunks LLC launched. So thank you for that. This has been a lot of fun. Without you guys, we would never have met Steenie or Clever or Echo or River or any of these crazy kids. So thank you for the opportunity to explore the story in Cretaceous period. Y'all, this has been a lot of fun. Of course, we have Clear Skies coming up this Monday night. And then not this coming Monday, but the next, November 30th, is going to be a very special episode of Blood of the Void. So you're going to want to catch that one. So I think that's all I had in terms of announcements. Gina has a puppet show. Y'all.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I have a puppet show.
I saw the little baby Cthulhu you made for Rachel.
Yes. If anyone has not seen the episode, please do yourself a favor so that you can watch Rachel Seeley perform Widow Quacken. It is the cutest thing, and we would all die for this Kraken because it's so sweet.
Widow Quacken.
Widow Quacken.
Widow Quacken.
Yeah. So it's been really nice, and we have one episode left, and it's next week. We're gonna be closing, and as you could tell, it's been a journey for my voice, and I love it so much. So please check it out. It's over on Pixel Circus.
Oh, thank you for reminding me, by the way, Gina. As a quick reminder to everybody, as we move forward, December 7th, aside from being a day
1941, yeah, right.
No.
A date will live in infamy.
December 7th is going to be the final episode of Clear Skies for 2020. So we're wrapping it up for the year. It's been a crazy year, y'all. I'm just one of those guys that's just constantly going, God, man, 2020. It's like, no shit. You've all been saying that this whole time. Like 2020 has been a lot of fun, but Clear Skies has been one of the things that has kept us sane. So that's going to be wrapping up on December 7th for the year. And Blood of the Void will be wrapping up shortly after that. So stay tuned for more information. Does anybody else have any announcements that they would like to throw out? Anything on Dark and Wish or any other?
Dungeons and Dragons Dark and Wish, Thursdays, 5 o'clock. Not this week, because this week is Thanksgiving. But then after that, we have 2 episodes have gone up. So we have 8 more sessions with our sweet babies. And that will be it for them. And I've warned them all, there is no guarantee that it will be a happy ending or that all of them will make it to it. So
I was wondering why you were smiling so much.
It's true. I mean, hey, I personally would like to see it turn out well for these kids. They've gone through a lot. I know because I put them through it. But, you know, it's going to go where it goes. The dice are going to fall where it falls. Also, it is my oldest daughter's birthday today. We're celebrating her arrival from the spirit world 13 years ago today.
Yay!
So it is. Yep. Shout out to Lexi.
Right on. Rave, you look like you wanted to say something.
I'm sorry, I just got really sidetracked by calling it
Birthday.
Arrival from the Spirit World. Amazing. And always how I will introduce my birthday. I love that. No, Phoenix Dawn Command, Tuesdays here at QueueTimes. Come check us out, you guys. We if you caught us last week, this is not a spoiler, but please go back and watch last week's episode because there's a moment where all 4 of us players, me, Eliza, Abria, and Aaron, realized that the bad guy might be hot, and we had to put a pause on everything and just be cool with that. Be cool with going up against him. Anyway, it's like one of the highlights of my RPG experience. So please go watch the last episode.
Oh no, he's hot.
trial to go up against the hot guy.
Oh no! But it's also collaborative world building. So there may have been moments where we
did
may
this
have
to yourselves,
encouraged it and helped that out.
I was gonna say, was this like weird science where you basically built your hot villain?
Yes, that's exactly what's happening here.
All right, right on. Any other announcements before we jump into the Cretaceous period today?
I do.
Yes.
I've talked about it a little bit. I'm going to talk about it a little more. My producers are going to talk about it even more because I do Power Play on this channel on Sundays at 5 to 8 p.m. Episode 3 had Gina DeVivo as a guest star. So frankly, that's the totality of a pitch you need. Gina DeVivo once looked at this production. It is therefore worthy of as much time as you can conceivably invest in it purely by dint of Gina. But
Can vouch, it's a really great show.
A bunch of this cast is amazing. Rick Budd is low key, Rick Budd is really, really good, and no one should be sleeping on him as GM. He's quite excellent, and gosh, things are happening, and I think that's really all I need to say about it. I don't.
It's rare when an RPG gets you speechless, Sam. You're like,
I've been calling. And
the cast. Okay,
I've been calling Rick the Underground King for a long time, man. Like he does not get the credit he deserves. You know what it is, and this is. I think it's because he did so many one shots, and so there wasn't the opportunity to paint a which, don't get me wrong, that in and of itself is a skill. But to be able to do a contiguous narrative, to really show,
we get to see him just really go for it in a dramatic, long form role playing narrative, and it turns out he freaking crushes this. The rhythm of his GMing is wonderful. The structure and the give and take, because it's such an excellent cast with B. Zelda from the Broadswords, Caitlin Bruder, aka Moss, and Omar Najam. It's a great cast to, he put it as, play tennis with and exchange and build the story collaboratively at all times. He's freaking awesome. Power Play is great. It's just a few episodes into its first season, so it's still bingeable as these things go. Really catch up for it. We're doing some terrible ideas. I'm doing some terrible ideas. Oh, God.
Also, fun fact, the pool and Shield of Tomorrow, Rick Budd's idea. Lots of folks don't know. The overarching of the plot idea was Rick Budd's idea. Fascinating, Captain.
He's a wonderful, wonderful writer. It's a great show. I'm really proud of the stuff that we're all doing together. So please go check it out. That said, right now I am not in Port Ruby. I am in the Cretaceous. And I'm excited.
Let's go ahead.
I'm a person in a very large dinosaur. It's going to be great.
Yes, you are. You are very tiny on a big dino. Let's go ahead and jump into today's episode of Secrets of Silvercreek. Fate is vastly underrated because people had Terminator fatigue because the other sequels were so awful and nobody went and saw it. And as a result, a wonderful, worthy sequel got past a lot of people, and for good reason, because I had Terminator fatigue too. I was heartbroken again and again and again. And B-Dave, I am completely in agreement. Salvation was rough.
I mean, on the strength of your recommendation, I will give it a shot. It's just I was hurt so many times from such a beloved franchise that I just tend to tune out of it.
I will warn everybody real quick. The first 5 minutes of Dark Fate will shock you and possibly upset you, but give the movie a chance.
Also, Jake, let us know when we're back. By the way, we're just like talking about the. Oh,
Yeah.
oh!
What's up, Ray? You wanted to say something before we jump into the narrative?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say one of my favorite movie pairings for a movie night is T2 as well as Iron Giant. They are surprisingly similar films, and you should watch them back to back for those beautiful thematic parallels. Anyway,
It's true. Yeah.
I've never seen either of them, but I've heard about both, and it makes sense to me based solely on rumor.
Why are you like this?
Sam, we should do a movie night where we watch both of them back to back.
Because people keep saying things like that, so then I don't watch the thing because I'm waiting for someone to watch with, and then they never follow up.
Have you at least seen the original Terminator, like 84?
I haven't seen any of the Terminators.
Really, honestly, there's only two. Maybe there's a third one. There's two. Some things we just don't talk about, and then maybe another one. Yeah.
You know what we're gonna have to do at some point? We should just have a Stream Punks hangout at some point, where there's no agenda at all. We just get on a chat like this and just hang out and chat with the audience.
It's true. That's cool. I mean, we are on Twitch, but anyway, we got to kill some dinosaurs.
We got a narrative to jump into.
I have a pitch for that later, though.
You got a pitch for that? Okay.
It's called the Untitled Chapter pitch, where we all do it for like the winter season. Anyway, let's continue.
Yeah. All right. We last left off where one of the last critical pieces of information had finally fallen into the lap of the party. You guys had gone into the sort of the second half of the Sati bunker that was buried under Silvercreek. The second half of the location that is connected to the original. You don't know if there's actually a tunnel network that originally connected the two. It's entirely possible because these bunker networks are long and extensive, but a lot of this bunker has caved in. So due to like a lot of seismic activity, due to a lot of volcanic activity, as this bunker is actually built into one of the cliff sides of this great mountain range here in Laramidia, which by the way, will become the Rockies in a few 65 million years from now. So a lot of the place has not been accessible. However, you were still able to activate the computers and start putting together pieces of the puzzle, looking at all of the bodies that have been preserved here underneath clouds of ash that have fallen upon them. The deeper you get into the facility, the bodies are not quite as well preserved. The ash didn't get in that deep. It was not enough to actually preserve a lot of the bodies, but you can tell just from the states of decay that they have been here since this facility was shut down. But why was it shut down? The big question, why was everything taken offline? Why was everything brought down the way it was? More questions arose as you all began to dissect the computer data and discovered that Sati, as it was when it first arrived during the early days of the commute here to the Cretaceous period, had for some reason been focusing on a specific part of the sky, constantly scanning a specific part of the night sky repeatedly, without any explanation as to why. But they seem to constantly take focus in a certain sector in the sky for some reason, like they were looking for something, not the comet, which has been documented and is actually, you have all seen the trajectory now. It is definitively going to miss Earth. And the theory is this has something to do with a lot of the time anomalies and time dilation that has been caused from all the travel that has taken place, which the implications of such a thing is terrifying to think that humankind not only has manipulated space-time to be able to travel 65, well, it would actually be farther than that because y'all come from a more distant future, but roughly 65 million years into the past. The idea that time dilation created by this was enough to affect the entire planet and its rotation in the solar system boggles the mind and hints at the level of technology you all descend from in the future. How it's affecting the Cretaceous period and the Earth as it is now is it opens up a realm of possibilities. But right now, for the first time in y'all's lives, the future is unknown. That comet is going to miss Earth by about 25,000 miles. In a spectacular light show, you'll see the thing that was supposed to cause the Cretaceous tertiary event pass you by. Like a neighbor saying hi on their way to school or something. It's just going to go flying right past Earth. But why was Sati so focused on this piece of sky? There's nothing out there as far as you can tell. There's nothing conclusive. And then, of course, you have the event warnings that have been uncovered. The last big piece of information that you've all discovered is that clearly something happened back in the modern days where the future from which you all came from, something happened that caused Sati to make the leap of logic that destroying time travel was the way to go, effectively stranding you all here in the past. Some kind of an emergency event took place. Whatever it was big enough that Sati decided stranding the Galaxy trials in the past was the appropriate course of action, which itself is boggling the mind with implications. But there's nothing conclusive. Something went terribly wrong. For those of you, it was called Measure Z. I'm a little too on the nose sometimes, I admit. But it was a catastrophic event that was taking place at the point of origin for the gate. And on top of that, you all have because of your investigations here in this bunker, you have now struck the gold mine. You now know the location of every Sati bunker in La Remedia, including ones that have been lost or presumed destroyed. There's at least 12 that are unclaimed that you know of, that are on this map you've never heard of before. And a few others that have been claimed by Sati and other ruckus organizations, specifically raiders, scavengers, or scavs as we call them. You weren't able to stick around any longer inside the facility because the sun was beginning to set, and none of y'all wanted to get caught down here, specifically because the air in this facility is toxic. And you can push yourself forward for a little bit, but as everyone emerged from the facility to set up camp at the base of this rock face, some of y'all started to feel a little nauseated and a little lightheaded. Your skin felt a little itchy. It was just kind of the side effect of inhaling these toxic fumes and the stink of sulfur. And for those who can't smell the sulfur, it is this thick, heavy air that's causing a slight pinch to the back of your nostrils. And it's triggering watering eyes on occasion if you get too much of an inhale. Sam, you're like, yes. For everyone else who can smell it, if you've ever smelled sulfur, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they described that's what hell. I mean, they described that's what hell smells like for a reason.
Yeah.
And
also,
when like eggy toots.
What's that?
Eggy toots.
That's
Eggy
what hell
toots.
smells like. Yep.
Also,
Nightcrawler. Yeah.
A great band name.
Eggy toots.
Eggy toots. And all they do is covers of Iggy Pop songs. Eggy Toots sings Iggy Pop. Sorry. All right. We lost Sam. So we're going to start today's episode off. I'm sorry. I love this. The reason why Rave just left is because Rave is letting her dog in, and she warned us this was going to happen. Just like we all know exactly why she vanished from frame, and it's adorable. All right. So we're going to start today's game off. Y'all have set up camp and has set. Now, keep in mind, you are not inside the walls of Silvercreek. And camping in the wilds in the Cretaceous period is always an adventure. It's dangerous. However, as dangerous as it might be for the normal travelers, it's not quite as dangerous for you guys, namely because there's a big fucking T-Rex that is hanging out along with the Dakota Raptor. These two large predatorial animals, and of course, a really dopey ankylosaur who just don't give a fuck. And so the combination of these three things, but literally the size of an apex predator here in the Cretaceous period that's lingering by the base of the mountains it's like when a larger wolf pack enters the area. Everyone acknowledges it and gets the fuck out of the way. With Goose keeping a perimeter watch and just kind of sniffing the night air, a lot of the wildlife that lingers around here has kept clear. And this includes some of the smaller nighttime predators like other Bambi raptors, who Clever is hearing chirping and cooing off in the foliage, in the dense bush of the wilderness. And that's where we begin tonight's, or rather, I'm so used to running games on Monday nights. That's when we begin today's episode of you all sitting around this campfire that you've managed to make at the base of this, processing quietly all the information you've all uncovered in this bunker. It's also worth noting that in the back of everyone's mind, particularly yours, Tego, just as a quick insert to give you something just as a refresher, you had a really intense, brief conversation with Skystone before y'all left. And Skystone kind of confirmed what you were suspecting. Y'all are going to have to start building defenses for Silvercreek. It seems pretty clear to both the elders, Amalia and Adrian, as well as Skystone, that inevitably at this point, someone is coming. Whether it might be the butterflies or it could be Sati, someone is coming.
Yeah. And you missed this, Rave, but we do have the north side booby trap to hell.
Mm-hmm. Because of a fantastic roll that y'all made.
Avoid Thunder Road at all costs, Rave.
Yep.
At the risk of being slightly meta, when we normally would discuss such things behind the scenes, storyteller, I would would it be more useful for your narrative to take Temporal Hunter for Nines a second time, where he becomes really good at finding time anomalies, or something else?
One thing will be smashing stuff and finding time anomalies.
He's in the time anomaly business, and cousin businesses are booming.
So here's how I function, and just so everybody else at home, this is kind of how I function as a storyteller. If you want to take that, I will make it relevant. So if you decide to take a second, be really freaking good at sniffing out time anomalies, then that investment will pay off, and I will see to it that 9 has plenty of opportunities.
Then yes, he's going to have double Temporal Hunter. And that is true. Literally, all of his abilities are breaking bones and finding time.
I'm just picturing 9 laying on his back and staring up at the sky like he's high.
Yeah.
Because he's literally just staring off into space-time. This dopey dinosaur that's just it's begun to comprehend things that the human mind cannot.
If you've ever seen where people have animated the Van Gogh paintings, have a Starry Night,
I'm just picturing 9's mouth hanging open, and is this cutting Kylosaur is just debating existence.
My favorite part of that building River's backstory was just she's gonna get one dinosaur, but it's gonna be the dopiest dinosaur.
Yeah.
The smartest, sharpest character we have with this
only one dinosaur from the Sati site, and it's gonna be 9.
9 really is starting to remind me of Ein from Cowboy Bebop.
100%. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. I'd like to mean
9 is totally the corgi dino.
Yeah, 9 is Ein.
He's very valuable and no one realizes it. Yeah.
9 is because 9 is pure chaos, has moments of genius, and then is pure chaos all over again.
And was genetically modified. No, really, it checks all the boxes. Yeah. Although now in my mind, he really is having this intense, Dr. Manhattan, does anything even matter? Am I shaping it, or do unseen forces guide me to the noms?
I'm sorry. Yeah. I know we're supposed to be in the narrative, but I don't mind sidebarring so we can express our love for this dinosaur. I fucking love 9.
Well, he's got a good time nose now.
Yeah. Okay, so Time Nose. That's going to be his nickname. 9 the Time Nose. All right. So 9 is, what is 9 doing right now as everyone's bedding down?
We're split, right? River's split off at 9.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
They didn't come with us.
River's back at Silvercreek right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, River's back at Silvercreek hanging out with Amalia.
Mm-hmm.
she asked your help trying to analyze some of the data and going over things. You had something you wanted to, yeah, what's up, Brave?
Though, if it makes more sense, because like strategically, if we had planned for the group to split off and for me to stay back with Amalia, if River thought it made more sense for 9 to go with the group because it seemed like they would be encountering more time anomaly, she would have let him go.
Well, it is worth noting too that this site is not a full day's journey. So we could say there's no reason in the world why we couldn't say about the time they're setting up camp, you finally reached them.
Yeah, I'm down with saying that.
Okay. Because it was, I would say it was like a half day's journey away from Silvercreek. So it is completely possible that you reached up.
You guys got to build the tents, and I got to just show up.
Yeah, you show up just as this shelters are being built. Like,
Yeah, because we're like
hey.
itching and retching from like low grade poisoning, and you're like, "Hi guys."
The only indication that something is approaching is all of you hear what sounds like maybe a titanosaur that's moving through the bush. You can hear woods creaking and whatnot. Goose, you sense the presence of something large and thunderous moving through the tree line, but it contradicts what your instincts are telling you, and it kind of becomes clear what it is when 9 appears, swinging that club tail. That's just walking along through the woods, making all kinds of noise. You
I think
he
would charge and attempt to snuggle Steenie, who may or may not allow it, but
So a charging 9, I want you to picture this, because if you've ever seen rhinos like trot over to things, their bodies are the girth of their bodies and how it just kind of shakes on their thick frame as they're charging over. Imagine 9 is an ankylosaur, this huge armored back and club tail, and just kind of has that bounce in the step and that shifting like frame as this heavy 3-ton ankylosaur moves over to Steenie. Just
Steenie has got the eyes when a dog is trying really hard to stay awake, because Steenie spent most of the day trying to climb, very unsuccessfully, but was like, Dada's up there. Tries to get up the whole time. So overexhausted herself throughout the whole day. So it's just like heard the noise and you just see like trying to focus as just what's coming. And then it's Steenie, and when Steenie sees 9, it's like a relief of like, okay, I don't have to fight anything, but oh, it's 9, I want to fight. Like, that's what we do, is competition. So because it's tired, Steenie just kind of lets it happen. It's just like, okay, I'm ready. Bring it. Just kill me. Just do it.
9 won a foot race and a wrestling match. Like, this is like the best week ever.
No.
So these creatures are so weird.
I would say 9 is just sort of scratching at 9 while like sort of flipped a little and is just like barely play fighting with the amount of strength and energy she has left.
Yeah. You definitely get the like full like pride, like head up, like I have won a second time.
Goes for the ankles.
What's at this point, River, you've rejoined the group.
Yeah.
So
I think that River's only explanation for catching up is I was planning on hanging out back a little longer, but 9 decided to start walking this way, and so I thought I might as well catch up. And so that's exactly what happened. Is River was hanging with Amalia and then realized that 9 was just sort of following the direction the group went, but like a little bit later than everyone. So I think 9 figured out that we were supposed to be going with the group, and so River's like, I guess we're going with the group now, and on the way to camp. So she's here now. I'm guessing she gets the like download on everything that you discovered, and we need to protect Silvercreek.
Yeah, but we do. Yeah, but there also was something else very different than a comet that they were concerned about. That's why we didn't clear out tonight. We're running calculations or something that I didn't quite understand to know whatever else it was they're worried about from that away. Between up in the sky, between the beetle and the triceratops horns there, right in that patch of blackness.
Running calculations. And she looks at Penny, I guess, just to check and see if Penny's the one running the calculations. Because who among the three is running these calculations?
The computer, Penny pressed some buttons and then it did things.
Oh. Can I
They
see?
did good.
Yeah, it's up there.
Yeah, the rope's still up.
I will hand her the helmet. I'm like, it's like very damp and like very musty from my beard and hair and everything. I'm like, apologies, River, but you ain't gonna want to go without it. Good news is we killed all the spiders.
Well,
Spider.
mostly clever.
I will say I will climb back up, but I will just wait kind of at the mouth of the place, like on the off chance she trips something, so I would be able to rush in so she's not completely alone. But I don't re-enter.
So, River, if you're going to go into the facility, you need to make an athletics check or a physical check of some kind. So it'd be a might pool. This would be if you have athletics or climbing or anything like that. That would definitely
I
help.
do have climbing and running.
Nice. Okay. Well, the difficulty of this is 3.
Okay, great.
Can I use enable others for physical task for climbing? Because I'm like ropes up there. Give her a boost.
Sure.
And the climbing gear will be an asset.
Let her know that some of the smoother parts of the rock are actually quite slippery because of the ash that's formed on top of it.
So that should pop another 2 down for you between the two of those.
Okay, so then you don't have to roll if you don't want to.
Well, I rolled a 12.
Okay. So seeing River's aptitude at climbing, she basically just tears up that rope. Legs swinging left and right, pulls herself up full body press into the opening, 60 feet straight up. When you get to the top, your arms definitely feel like they got a workout, River. But it was a good one. It's that good soar. As you're up there, you look down into this large open room that has what looks like an intact telescope that has been retracted. It looks like it's one of those telescopes that goes kind of retracts outward for maximum magnification. It looks like despite the layers of dust and ash that have formed over it, it is intact and operational. You also see some of the dim glowing lights of the computer consoles on the far side of the room. And then you see the ghosts. There are bodies all over the ground. Corpses of scientists that worked here for Sati. Doesn't look like one of them looks like it's been mildly disturbed, but not much. It looks like maybe somebody lifted the body a little bit to get a better look at it. You can tell. And the reason why you can tell that is because the body outline and the ash on the floor has been revealed. But you also see what looks like plasma shell casings that are also covered in ash, indicating that there was weapons fire in here. None of the equipment looks terribly damaged by weapons fire. Most of it has been damaged by falling rock from the facility. It looks like the facility has been somewhat structurally compromised. And the computer console is on with a layout of the facility.
Okay.
It's not particularly large. It doesn't seem to have... what you know about Sati bunkers, River, is that it's not unusual for them to be connected to a neighboring bunker up to a half a mile away. This one doesn't seem to be connected to Silvercreek, and that strikes you as odd. It probably... either they didn't get around to building it, or this is one of the earlier sites. You're not sure, but it's a little odd that that's not the case. You don't see anything in the blueprints up on the computer that indicates that it's connected to Silvercreek.
Yeah, I think that I'm more concerned about looking at the computer because it seems like if you're going to take your notes on your observations on anything, it's going to be on this computer. So I'd love to see if I can find like a record of just like what their observations were, but specifically like how they were framing those notes and just what they were specifically looking at. Like if essentially like no sign of X. that at least I know what X was, you know?
So that's deeper in the facility. The computer that you're at right now specifically functions as the controls for the telescope.
Uh-huh.
But you do see that on not far from this room, just down the corridor, actually is administration, where they kept a lot of the mainframe and computer files.
Okay. Then she's gonna just do like a quick cursory scan of this room, and then I think she's going to over comms let Tego and the rest of the group let them know that she's going deeper.
What's up, Tego?
I just did tell her what I found. You know, it's like, well, went down 2 doors on the left was the mess hall, and I definitely tell her where that main office I found was with the map of all the locations of the bunkers.
Okay.
Right. The map is. I'll definitely keep an eye out for that. I'm more so looking for any sorts of records that these scientists kept. I mean, they're scientists. They take notes. That's what they do. If I can get my hands on any of those, that might give us a bigger clue of what we're supposed to be looking for in the sky. But thank you, Tego. And then she's going to move on in.
So, River, the first thing that you note when you start moving in deeper into the facility is the air down here is awful. You can smell sulfur. The air is thick. It is toxic. However, you do have the helmet that Tego gave you, so you're not going to be subjected to having to worry too much about exposure down here.
Mm-hmm.
But you also note that without the light on the top of that helmet, you wouldn't be able to see anything. It is pitch black in this facility. You do occasionally catch like the glowing luminescence of buttons from fading computer console power sources. You also see the presence of those spiders that Tego was talking about. There doesn't seem to be any around right now. It's not surprising either. What you know about animals is the spiders were probably temporarily holed up here. They probably couldn't go too deep into the facility because this is not a hospitable environment to any of the biological life forms that exist here on land. So when you're entering into the corridor, you just see thick cobwebs that are up on the walls, along with these beautiful puffy cotton balls mixed into the cobwebs. Undoubtedly hatched spider sacs.
Yeah.
However, there doesn't seem to be any presence of these spiders, mostly because they scared the hell out of all of them. And man, Clever had a buffet.
Yeah.
A delightful buffet of venomous spiders to devour. Moving deeper into the facility, though, it is haunting, River. You are moving through one of the last relics of the last commute. And you do see evidence of bodies in here, scientists and other civilian personnel that died, looking like they were probably murdered from the tears in the back of the lab coats and uniforms, the obvious sign of scorch marks of plasma rounds. Most of them look like they were shot in the back, which would suggest that they were probably running when they died. Moving through here it's like the underworld with that hazy mist that's kind of gathered over from all the ash that's formulated in here. You enter what looks like the administration room. The computers here are surprisingly intact.
Okay.
And there is evidence that it has been used recently, which coincides with what Tego is telling you.
Mm-hmm.
And approaching the console, it reacts to your touch, and you see a couple of staticky holograms form in front of you, indicating the map of Sati bunkers across Laramidia. This is a treasure trove of information. To be able to find every documented bunker of Sati across Laramidia, that into itself would be an entire new quest. That's a whole other campaign that could unlock what the civilization here in the Cretaceous period would need to build an actual world for themselves. The technologies and things that could be unlocked finding all of these Sati bunkers up and down the coast. One thing I will say, though, I need you to make an intellect roll. I'm going to set the difficulty of this at 15. If you have any training in computers, I'm not 15. The target number is 15. The difficulty is 5. If you have any difficulties, if you have any skills in like computers or like data reading or anything like that.
I don't.
Okay, so you're gonna need a 15 or better on a D20.
It's a good thing I got a 16.
Oh shit! You just flat rolled a 16. Nicely done. Because of your familiarity with Sati and the way they compile their data, the formats that they use, you're digging through some of this, and you see 2 previously unspotted bunkers that Tego missed on the other continent. Across the sea in Appalachia, which is one of the... What's up? You have a question?
Oh, River's mind is blown.
Yes. So you do know that there was a time where Sati was looking at trying to explore the other continent. Laramidia, of course, being the main continent, but Appalachia is the wild, untamed stretch of great land that will eventually become Russia, China, and Africa. It is... What's up?
I kind of answered my own question. I was going to say, is it still Pangea? But you just said another continent, so I guess not.
Yeah, if you have the Predation sourcebook, this is actually on page 75 in the core book. You can actually see a map of the world, and you can clearly see what looks like the coastlines of North America and California, most of which is underwater. But this map is actually based on actual scientific data of the way the world looked back then. This is after Pangea broken up. The continents of South America has kind of traveled south already, but actually, I'm sorry, I have to revise that. This is not what will become Africa and Russia and whatnot. This looks like it's the other half of North America, separated by an ocean that has split into 2 continents.
Yeah.
So, but to further expand upon that, Appalachia is the one place that Sati did not try to settle in. And as a result, it is the raw, dangerous, untamed wilds of prehistoric Earth. And there have been some settlements that were formed over there. They have not been heard from since the last commute. But it's generally regarded to be a dangerous expedition to go to the second continent because of how untamed and wild it is.
And then there's 2 bunkers there now.
2 bunkers, and they're on the coastline, the east coastline of Appalachia. So it looks like Sati did set up some bunkers over there. It does not look like they got very far inland, which is not surprising.
Yeah.
Because the resources required to do that in the time period that they had would have probably been greater than they needed. So
I think out of
That's
curiosity,
fascinating.
I think out of pure curiosity, she's going to just like pull up those 2 bunkers and like see if she can find anything in there, just like from a cursory look, because it sounds like Sati was being Sati and was trying to colonize another part of this world and didn't get very far. So it's not that crucial to this, to what we're looking for right now.
Mhm.
But she is curious, and she's like,
Sure.
maybe I'll find something. And so she just wants to take a quick peek before she goes back to trying to figure out what they were looking at through the telescope.
they are forward stations. So it looks like Sati was not intending to colonize Appalachia, but they did not want to leave it unexplored either.
Mm-hmm.
And so what they did is, judging from the computer readouts that you're seeing, they are supply stations and forward stations, so that once units arrived from across the ocean, there were bunker sites set up to help supply them before they made any expeditions into Appalachia.
Over the comms, she's like, well, if we ever wanted to go to Appalachia, there might be a place for us to stay. It's a nice seaside resort. And then she's kind of,
Hey, River,
yeah.
what do you think the odds are that they also got the Measure Z kill switch? Do you think they're like this untouched Sati site? Because if they were the only ones there and they haven't been heard from, maybe they didn't get shot.
I'm starting to have a different opinion on all of this. I think the reason why they killed those scientists is they wanted these things to be untapped so that they couldn't get all used up and exploited ahead of time. I think these are all time capsules, including that.
Huh.
There is one more
Time
piece of
capsule?
information.
Could use those supplies though one day. I'm locking it away. What else you
Yeah.
finding?
The last bit of information is about Appalachia is the one that is the most intriguing, River, because there is a warning file. There appears to be an entire section of Appalachia that was designated for testing. It's not clear what it was used for, but it has been designated no man's land. No one is allowed there. It has been quarantined. And it does have a file that just reads L1.
L1. Okay. Well, that does spark a little bit more interest. She's gonna try and see if she can find out anything about L1, or even just like if it has been quarantined, if she can find out like a list of warnings almost.
Mhm.
Here's why we are quarantining this area, even if it's just if it's a vague list of warnings, she'll take what she can from that and like extrapolate. But L1, that suddenly becomes her most like base interest.
Typing that into a search, it immediately asks you for an administrator's code. It
I
flags
think
it
there's a
immediately.
bunch of dead bodies around me. Can I go loot and see if I can find an administrator's code on anyone?
You can make the attempt.
Okay,
Yes.
great. Can I? Is this a thing I could spend XP on too?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
If
great.
you're willing to burn 3 XP,
I think I only have 4.
this would count as a long-term benefit, a powerful item, and home, an ally, title, job. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I think that yes, I should use the 3 XP to get an administrator's code for this. And hopefully my homies will back me up in case I get into a dangerous situation.
Okay. So
That's why I'm waiting at the
record
cave
it and laugh
entrance.
later. Yeah.
Okay. So, all right, then this is how this is going to manifest. What you discover is when you see that administrator's code come up, you burning the 3 XP is twisting the narrative a little bit so that it's oh look, I happen to know this, or I happen to have access to this.
Mhm.
You enter in that administrator's code. And it just so happens it's the first thing that comes to my mind is the code that you use to even access the bunkers, which seems to have been working like a skeleton key for everything that you guys have been accessing. You enter that code and it says, "Welcome, Administrator Maris."
Does the name Maris ring a bell at all, or no? Like, is it a name?
Doesn't ring a bell, no.
Okay.
But if this is one of the original first commuters, Maris could be somebody who was, at this point, as a former Sati employee, River is certain is whoever owned this particular code must have been in the inner circle of Sati, because it's giving you access to everything so far.
Yeah. Maris has been doing us a lot of favors. Okay, let's dig in.
Or have they?
Have they?
Yeah. That's what else did Maris do?
That's true. Also, she's gonna send out another just like heads up to Tago. She's like, Tago, this administrator's code has been working surprisingly well for me, but I don't know if it's gonna send out an alarm, so keep an eye out because I'm officially in. Great.
That's it. That's the tweet.
That's the tweet. Okay. I'm going to say this too, by the way.
Yeah.
Real quick before we move forward in this.
Yeah.
How's everybody doing on ciphers?
I got 1 cipher, my poison.
2 that I have not used yet.
Okay.
Likewise, have 2
Okay,
that I got the first episode. They just haven't been necessarily relevant.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
I love you so much. Thank you.
We love you too, Gina.
Gina.
I love you guys. I was also just gifted coffee. Oh.
Someone is scoring major boyfriend points this morning. All right.
I just keep getting gifts of food
Keep getting
and
gifts.
They're
Tribute.
offerings at the shrine. Yeah, exactly.
Thank you for the offerings. Your patronage is always appreciated.
Thank you for your patronage. All right. River, you already identify what this is. The moment the file opens, you see L1 is short form for a rather cute name that scientists gave an experiment that they were working on. Simply Lizard 1. Except for it's not a simple thing. And true to form in these kinds of things, it's an understatement to what it's actually referring to. And you see coming up on screen an overview file of a genetically manipulated theropod that is currently on the loose in Appalachia. This thing has been heavily cybernetically modified as a test to see what kind of limits that they could push modifying dinosaurs into a war machine. The image that you see is what looks like some kind of genetically modified subgroup of T-Rex. This one in particular has been enhanced to be particularly large, standing at about 20 to 23 feet tall, bringing its total length up to nearly 50 feet long, which for a theropod is gargantuan. You're pushing past Spinosaur at that point. This thing has been labeled L1, in parentheses underneath it as Project Supersaur. Now, when I describe this thing, if you can imagine a theropod of that size equipped with cybernetics and weaponry that is directly connected to its brain stems. This is a long-armed looking T-Rex whose entire upper part of its face has been replaced with metals and targeting optics and weaponry. It has a cannon on its back. It has 2 large plasma pulse cannons on its sides. This thing is a biological tank and was built specifically to see if they can manufacture this dinosaur into something truly horrific. For player comparison, you have discovered evidence of the Tarrasque in Predation. And it looks like they built this thing to be a unstoppable war monster.
What's the Tarrasque?
They couldn't contain it. So for those of you who don't know, the Tarrasque is a legendary creature in Dungeons and Dragons. There is only one in existence, and it is notorious for being the deadliest beast to ever be created in D&D.
It's D&D's Godzilla. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Godzilla of
It
D&D.
is such a pain in the ass to fight. I've never fought something that's more the pain in the ass than the Tarrasque.
Yeah.
True.
It's fun though. It's fun though.
Yeah, it is. It is fun.
I've dropped those things on people left and right. River, is there...
I can give you the stats on this thing too, because you've actually pulled up its biological file.
Yeah, I'm down. Let's do it.
It is a difficulty 10 dinosaur.
Oh, boy.
So anything you do to attack this thing needs to hit a target number of 30 on a D20.
Echo just looks up at Penny and knows that she's on comms. She's talking to everyone, but she's looking at Penny, and she's just like, I take it back. All those scientists are definitely dead.
Yeah.
After
super
hearing
dead.
what that thing, that poor creature.
That whole ecosystem has to be
That
messed
whole-
up.
It's just gone.
That's like, what was it called? Project Overkill? Supersaur.
It's got a couple of names. Some of the scientists took to calling it kaiju for fun.
Is there any indication, like, who were they warring with here? Or were they trying to create it to take it back to their world or worlds?
Let me try and figure out its purpose. I hope there's more than just we felt like it.
It's probably a bit of both.
Wait a second.
Yes.
If they knew we were going to be staying here, if that was part of the plan, maybe that was just to make sure we were the apex predators on the planet day one. No dinosaur anywhere ever could stand against that.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's the apex predator, not us.
They didn't build something like that they couldn't control.
Well, clearly it got loose, so someone sucked at their job.
And
Or-
as you're listening to this over the comms river, your blood starts to turn to ice because there's not just one.
Oh my god.
That was going to be her next question. She's like, is there only one lizard boy, or is there?
There
more?
are 12.
There are 12 lizard boys. Do they have trackers on them?
They do.
I, for one, welcome our new reptile overlords.
Yeah,
They do. There are 12. The project was canceled in 5 years into its lifespan.
Can she take a quick look? Basically, she's just worried for the ecosystem of Appalachia right now. Just like it's just gone. Like she expects post-apocalyptic wasteland there right now. That's what makes her blood really turn to ice. Not that there are 12 of them, but like what these 12 have possibly caused. So is there a way that she can look to see if they're traveling in herds? Are they like separate? And like how far across Appalachia have they like technically?
I mean, the comet's not going to hit. We're way past messing with ecosystems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's only one.
But we don't know what the thing in the sky is, and maybe they were making them for that purpose.
I'm
and
just
not
saying,
just regular
Dinosaur.
human reasons.
if this turns into like dinosaur Terminators versus Daleks, I'm playing this game for 17 seasons.
Dude, that's what it is. That's what it could be. We
Yep.
don't know, Tago. We don't know.
This is
I'm just
why
gonna
all
say this.
campaigns ultimately have to go to space by the end.
Shauna Germain created a fucking awesome game setting. That's all I'm gonna say. River, it just keeps getting worse the more you read. There are 12, but only one of them is in Appalachia.
What? Where
The other 11 were released in Upper Laramidia.
Oh shit.
So the other 11 are on this continent with you guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just hear a very loud why from down below.
And how close are they to? Oh my God, where in Laramidia are they?
Good question.
How long ago
Because
was this
By
experiment
now,
closed?
anywhere.
What's that?
How long ago was this experiment closed?
This closed down about a few years before the last commute.
So this was like 80 years ago?
80 plus years ago.
2 questions. One, how long are those creatures reasonably supposed to live? Some of them might already be old and died. 2, having come from the background I come from, did I hear stories from other scavs about, horrific nightmare monsters with rocket arms?
Yes. Honestly, all of you have heard legends.
Yeah.
But they sounded so fucking ridiculous. There was no reason to believe any of this madness. I mean, Santi has created some pretty mind-boggling genetic experiments mixing with technology. For example, there is, no joke, a dinosaur that has been genetically engineered using its platelets, taken from stegosaur DNA that they pulled from fossil record and ankylosaur DNA. And they genetically engineered, I'm not kidding, a Teslasaur, which channels plasma energy across its bone platelets, turning it into a giant weaponized walking taser that can also generate power for nearby facilities.
Did they splice an electric eel for that?
There is definitely some of that into it as well.
Yeah, because that's going to take its own damage. I remember looking that up for hops. This is super relevant. Tago, you had something.
Also known as the fire lizard or lightning lizard.
Okay, wait a second. River is this deep in the computers here, having bought this access. Pardon my French. Can River find out the fuck is going on? Why are we here? Like, what is that?
I think that's her next. That's what she's going to be looking for next. She's going to be looking for just why are we looking through that telescope and why are we looking at it in the sky? But she's like, I'm sorry, I had to put a pause on the fact that there are like 12 crazy dinosaurs just running around. Like, what is
Super Saurai. And what you get is that all of the trackers, save the one on Appalachia, have stopped working.
Oh, great.
It could be because they died. There's no reason to assume that they were genetically engineered for longevity. However, you all know that T-Rexes and other theropods and whatnot, if they were allowed to live their full lifespan, which none of them do, but if they were allowed to, that they can actually grow quite old. And scientists today, I believe, theorize that a T-Rex could live up to 40 to 50 years.
Okay.
And
I'd have to
then- and then
check- I'd have to
modify
double check
that.
It changes all the time. Yeah.
And
Now
modify
genetically
that.
modify that.
Well, but subtract for the immune complications of having that many cybernetics.
But then
And
I mean-
subtract
no
immune
medication and follow
complications
up
for
fatty.
science fiction.
Yeah, exactly. Subtract
Yeah.
for science, fiction. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's hard to say, but these
Weird-
were yeah.
Weird question. In my short time as a butterfly, even as a rumor, that feels like something they would have tried to hunt down in the many years that they existed to obliterate from the earth. Is there legends of that specifically from butterflies?
Yes.
Have they ever encountered one and was like, even if they were lying, have like touted this celebration of taking one of these things down that just like no one believes?
The children who've grown up in the butterflies are told stories about a great metal beast that was dropped by the butterflies and was one of the principal things, but it's kept very vague. And anytime it's brought up, people just talk about it like it's parable. And honestly, now that you're hearing this, it adds a whole new level. Oh, and River, by the way, the one in Appalachia is a mutated prototype version that's much larger than the other Supersauri. However, still, the other Supersauri are the same levels of lethality. The ones that were released in Upper Laramidia stand at about 12 feet tall, weighing up to about 4 tons. So they're about the size of a T-Rex. Like an adolescent T-Rex.
Okay, so I can take them.
So the
That was the cutest giggle.
don't do that.
I didn't ask humans for their opinion.
They're
They're my size. Then I can take them. I don't care if they have like weird shiny on them.
But everything about this creature is upgraded. Its teeth, it's taken DNA from all the most dangerous theropods, spliced them, and then cybernetically turned it into a walking tank. And that's the file you uncover on L1 or Lizard 1.
Can I just see before I start trying to figure out why we're examining this patch of sky, can I see if there was any sort of like statement of intent with these
Yeah.
wars?
The big question that citizens in present day Cretaceous period have, and that have asked themselves to the point where they've just gotten tired of asking, is what the hell was the point of the Gravaxi time trials anyway? Why did humanity come back to the Cretaceous period? Why did they set up an entire like network of bunkers? Why was Kaleno City a thing? Like, if this was going to be a scientific research thing, why was so much made to do this? There is rumors that those who might still be alive from the first commute, like Amalia, who are high up in the rankings, may have those answers. It's also rumored that if those answers are out there, they may be sealed away in some of these Sati vaults. There is nothing in this computer that explains why they wanted to look at that patch of sky. Just that the orders to look at that patch of sky came from the future. And that the other telescopic celestial observation posts here in Laramidia, which there are 2 others up and down the coast, they were also given the directive to constantly monitor and search for anomalies or anything out of the ordinary. And what's curious to you about that, River, is it looks like the orders were intentionally kept vague. Like they did not tell the scientists or any of the observers specifically what it is they were looking for, but it was marked as a priority 1. They had to constantly check the sky.
They had to constantly check the sky, almost as if those in the future didn't know when something was going to be happening.
And it's possible if there's no record, they didn't ever record anything strange.
I mean, more than that. Is the whole point why they sent people back in time just because they could, or was it to come back here and watch that patch of sky? Because something killed a spacefaring civilization, or at least rendered something catastrophic 65 million years in the future. This is quite a great length to come back to try and prevent that from happening.
Mm-hmm.
How many telescopes on that map of bunkers?
There are 2 more.
Do they all have the same coordinate of patch of sky to look at?
Yeah,
Yep.
I was just gonna say, so they're all looking at the sky from like a different spot, I guess.
It basically looks like they're constantly given different coordinates until they found a coordinate they became particularly interested in and locked in on that. So you see a period of where they were being given orders. And by the way, River, it's worth noting that the orders to look at this patch of sky kind of just started coming out of the blue one day.
Okay.
It would just they started ordering scientists here on the west coast of Laramidia to just start focusing on that patch of sky. And it looks like, judging from the coordinates as they were whittled down, it looks like they were looking for the right patch of sky to look at, because all 3 of the observation posts were given different coordinates, but they kept getting closer and closer until they all 3 started getting the same coordinates. Okay, look here.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So they were searching, and then it seems like they found what they wanted to look for.
Okay. So River's gonna be super thorough about this, and then just check and see like what exactly like are the celestial bodies that like are around that point of coordinates. Just get those down as well. Anything worth noting? Any new stars, old stars, anything born or supposed to exist within. Like,
I will say it's unique for you, River, because you being looking at this for the very first time, you're seeing what the night sky looked like in the future.
Yeah.
And it's very different. The stars were in a different place.
Yeah.
Orion's belt looked different.
Yeah.
The moon was slightly further away by literally like 3 feet. But like the night sky looked very different.
Wait, River, you got the telescope working again?
I think I do. Yeah.
Okay. Hang on. I'll be up.
Okay.
I'm just gonna climb up.
Wait, where are you going? What's going on? I don't want to be the only one down here not finding fun stuff.
You're not gonna last too long with that gas either, kids. So
Yeah, hold my breath real good. I just want to see the stars. They're not scary anymore, you guys.
No,
There's
you're
no meteor up there to like explode us. I want to see them. And Penny's gonna start climbing up to go
my God,
see
Penny.
the stars through the telescope.
Don't come
Also,
up.
while Penny's on the way up, they orchestrated Order 66 somehow. Like, is there any like record of that? Like
the only record that some shit went down was Condition Red, contingency measures, the activated catastrophic event at origin threat level alpha. Abort Gravaxi trial scuttle project. And data. Destroy origin gate.
Gravaxi trial.
We're not supposed to keep watching this patch of sky, which makes me only want to keep watching this patch of sky.
Now, it is worth noticing that there are other coordinates on there, like I said.
Yeah. You know what? Actually, yes. That's what River wants to do as well. Is almost like look at the other coordinates and like figure out like why were these the coordinates that we landed on? I guess, and see like what did those other coordinates lack, and maybe that'll help her figure out like what is special about this patch of sky.
Okay.
And so I think that's what she's gonna do.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you want me to roll for that, or what do I find out?
No, you don't really have to. I mean, it looks like it. River, your heart starts beating faster and faster because you're starting to uncover things that have been lost. Secrets that have been lost to all of the commuters since the Gravaxi trials happened. And you're seeing all of these coordinates that are dedicating telescope to certain positions in the sky. There's 4 in particular that look like they are think of it like bookmarking a favorite web page. They are not the same coordinates that are being monitored constantly. They are not the same coordinates that are pointing at, look at this patch of sky, look at this patch of sky, but they are, it looks like there's 4 in particular that have been set aside. And then the rest of them are just random coordinates that seem to streamline down until they finally find the patch of sky they want to look at. Does that make sense? The telescope is active too. You do also have computer readouts and whatnot. So if there's anything you want to do here, just let me know.
Yeah, I want to figure out like what is the common thread between those 4 coordinates? Like, are they all on the same like trajectory of something? Like, could you?
It doesn't look like it. It looks pretty random.
Looks pretty random. Damn.
But about this point, I think at this point you're actually going to hear Penny approaching.
Yeah, I was going to say. Let's say.
Penny's moving through there. You can hear the clacking sounds of small little claws on metal plates as as one Bambi raptor has also entered the area with Penny.
Clever. Clever's just playing into your back right now. Clever doesn't like the fact that there's a lot of just like haze and like darkness here. This is not their vibe at all.
So Clever doesn't go deeper into the facility.
Yeah. Oh my God. Penny, as soon as I think that River, as soon as she figures out that Penny doesn't have a helmet, is going to come meet Penny. And going to try and convince them to do like I wear the helmet for a few minutes, you wear the helmet for a few minutes, I wear the helmet for a few minutes, and we're gonna like share the same like air supply kind of thing. So that's what's gonna happen. And so as soon as Penny is within reach, plop goes the helmet on Penny.
Okay.
For what it's worth, it could have gone longer.
I believe it.
Wasn't even hard though.
Okay.
Yeah, Penny is really here to see the stars.
Okay.
There are not answers here. Yes. Like, that was, for Penny, that was the point of going out here in the first place. So they just want to make sure they do that. This is not about, they're not productive here. They don't know how to do like tech things. They don't have like big answers about the why Sati did things, whatever.
Okay.
Sati does stuff sometimes, and it's usually not a good idea. But like, look, most of us do lots of things that are usually not a good idea. So like, yeah, Sati stuff is happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
But Penny wants to see the stars. That's all. That's seriously all.
Yeah, so if Penny wants to see the stars, River is kind of gonna give them a glare, but also like, I'm not your mom, so you can do whatever you want. But like, I think, so River's gonna say instead, it's like, all right, if you want to look at the stars, we can look at them real quick, but I think that we should not leave each other's side so that we can continue sharing this helmet. And I do think that our time is best spent examining that computer back there in the administration's office.
Okay, so you should go and look at the computer in the administration's office, and then I'm gonna go outside, I'm gonna take a deep breath, and then I'm gonna run here, I'm gonna look at the stars till my breath runs up, and I'm gonna run back out, I'm gonna breathe out, I'm gonna take a new breath, and you're gonna look at the computer. It's fine. Here, go.
No, you have 10 minutes. And then River is going to plant and put the helmet back on you.
I'm gone. I narrated, my friend.
I know. So River has the helmet on now. And I think that even if Penny insists on River leaving, River's not leaving their side right now. So they're gonna stay in the room.
Stop. Go.
No. She has other stuff she can do in this room, is what I'm saying.
That's fine. Seriously, let me just do the thing and I'll take care of myself and go do more productive things. I'll take care of it. It's just fine.
I'm saying that I want to do one more thing in this room that's separate from the telescope.
Okay, do that, but it's not about me.
Yes, it's not about you.
Good.
Yeah. So
you don't need to babysit me.
No, she's not going to babysit you.
Good. Because I don't need babysitting.
Love arguing. Ain't it sweet? I love you more. No, I love you more. I'm fine. I love you. I love you.
Well, what River actually
River's like, I'm the one looking after all these motherfuckers. I don't know why they're arguing like without me.
What River actually does want to do with all the people in the room, and what she did want to do when she like first walked in past all these bodies, is she does want to go through and like collect everyone's like IDs, because like these people were like shot in the back, and like as like a fellow scientist, like I think she feels a lot of sadness for that. Okay. And like I think that like the game plan is like to do a burial for these people later. And so
and like, if nothing else, you can bury the IDs. They're preserved here in this tomb of science, as it were. But you could definitely have a burial for the ID. The ID tags don't seem to have any identifiers on them. They were probably used to open doors. You have more access than a lot of the people would have ever had that were working here. But yes, you gather up the IDs, no problem. You have a small handful of these data chips, IDs, that they had shipped onto their uniforms.
And then she'll go back to the administration office, but like she wants to make sure that she collects as much as she can before she goes back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Penny, after coming back, you have access to the telescope. Where are you pointing it?
The sky?
Okay. You all kind of flinch as you look up and hear this screeching metal as the doors start to open on the observatory for the first time in 80 plus years. It's enough to startle wildlife in the area, and even Goose finds it to be an alarming and very uncomfortable sound as this metal scrapes across rock until it finally finds its track again, and then you see the telescope project out about 16 feet from the door and come to a settled point. The front of the telescope slides open and the protected lens is spotless, uncracked. You can see perfectly. You stare into the darkness, Penny, not really pointed at anything in particular, but the moon is out tonight.
Cool. I run out, I take a breath, I run back in, and
it's more like you pull yourself out, take a deep breath just outside, and then plop back down.
Oh, good. If I can just do that, that's even more convenient for me.
Yeah. What would you like to look at?
Yeah, River's going to send you those coordinates, though, just if you want to look at those. But if you want to look at anything else, you can look at those.
Oh, sure, yeah. I'll do my homework before I do, like, fun stuff.
Yeah.
I'll try to input the coordinates. We'll see how it goes.
There are 4.
This definitely has a straightforward UI.
The first thing you enter, the telescope aligns and comes to a stop. You see a data readout coming up on the screen and feedback coming in as well. You have the opportunity to look through the telescope, but the telescope is actually projecting its imagery up on the computer screen in front of you.
Okay, yeah, my eyes are burning.
You see a planet.
Whoa, the coordinates?
One of the coordinates has a planet, looks very unusual, like you've never seen a gas planet before. This looks like you're looking at something very similar to Neptune. So it has that
I've never seen a planet on a telescope before.
You see this beautiful blue glow. And the magnification, keep in mind, this is a telescope from the future. So the magnification you can get on this is astonishing. You can see the swirling clouds in the atmosphere of this planet. And it actually, you see this data readout constantly compensating for the gas distortion in Earth's atmosphere, as well as light pollution. It's using not only telescope technology, but sensor technology from the far-flung future. So you are seeing the surface of a cloud formation and a data readout telling all of the different gases and minerals that are being detected in that planet's atmosphere. This is science unlike anything you've ever seen before. You've never seen technology being able to do this, but you're seeing a distant planet. It also gives the coordinates are, this is currently 16 light years away. And what's remarkable about that is you see the telescope somehow is compensating for the time dilation between Earth and that planet. And you are receiving a real-time image.
The telescope's a time machine.
What? You all get to see cool stuff.
Then come up here.
No,
So-
don't come here.
61 plus light years away, and you're seeing it in real time. It's pretty astonishing.
Yep, that's
You-
fine.
Draw me a picture. I can't leave the babes.
You do see little flecks, little dots drifting up across the image too, indicating that it probably has moons. They look like rocks in space. But imagine Penny seeing a deep space celestial object like this for the very first time in their life.
there's like the sulfur thing with the nose pinch, and my eyes water. Cause the sulfur. That's why. Space is really pretty.
Is there any indication what the point of it is? Why are they looking at that planet? Again, why did they come back for the Gravaxi trial? What were they even testing? We have access to all their records, and we don't know any more than we did an hour ago, except for the fact that horrible killing machines are out there, which honestly we also kind of knew.
Can I look through the that computer to see if there were any notes taken on this planet, to see if there was any like
Yes.
if there was just any like variation in what they observed about this planet?
It has a long name
Great.
designating it as a planet in the sky, but you do note that the file is called Survey Site 1.
Okay. What's the first letter of its name? Because we're just gonna call it that letter 1.
G.
G? Okay, it's gonna be G1. That's gonna be what we're gonna be calling the planet. Okay, so yeah, any information on G1 that we can use?
Doesn't look like it. Looks like they were just surveying this planet. For what reason, you're not sure.
Do they have any info on the actual like composition of the planet? Like what?
Yeah, there's a data readout describing what the atmosphere is made up of. It does not look hospitable. It is a planet that probably suffers from acid rain 27 hours of its Earth days.
Okay.
Yeah. And it looks like a hellscape from here.
So nothing. So it's a planet. It does not look habitable, correct?
No.
Not at all.
No.
Doesn't mean the moons aren't.
I mean, doesn't mean the moons aren't. Doesn't mean that we don't have the
Doesn't mean
to be able
that-
to.
Doesn't mean that it won't be in 65 million years, or doesn't mean something that doesn't mind acid rain and lives there currently.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're
Are
looking
we
at.
done with the planet? Have we gotten everything about the planet? Can I look at the moon now?
Feel free to look at the moon, I would say.
I'm gonna look at the moon.
I mean,
It's haunted.
she's a beauty. You can see, I mean, imagine what the moon must have looked like 65 million years ago to us. The crater, the landscape looked a little different, but you see that luminous and angelic, that pearlescent glow of the moon in the night sky. And you can see its surface with perfect clarity.
Did Sati like build a secret moon base up there, like in the past, like a dinosaur moon base? Do I see one? Is it there? I always you
You
always
don't
wonder.
see anything on the surface of the moon that seems human-made in any kind.
They
You
did
just
it on
see
the dark
big,
side. That's very
beautiful
clever.
moon. Yeah.
It must be on the other side.
Have we? Do we know about like space travel?
We know they did it.
No.
Yeah.
Right now, all you have is 3 more coordinates: the moon, a telescope that seems to be able to account for time dilation, and then that patch of sky that they kept wanting to look at. This is the most contact you've had with anything having anything to do with astronomy. For the most part, it's a sort of a lost art. They just there's only a few dedicated scientists that are constantly watching the night sky for the extinction event.
Yeah, copy. Well, I think that River is going to do one last scan of this computer, collect the IDs in this room, and I think that she's gonna like try and see if there's any way we can send all this information back to the resource center for Dr. Amelia.
Yes, you could send it back to you wouldn't be able to send it back to the resource center. You could send it back to the original bunker,
Yeah,
So E1.
center E1.
including. Okay, cool.
So if you'd like to go ahead and do that, yeah, and then collect those last IDs from this room.
What are you doing, Penny?
Right, that got weird with unmuting. That's like Penny was really just here to look up and admire the sky. So when we're packing out, I will also pack out. I'll like help carry anything that needs carrying. I will see what it is that Clever picked up just now. And what was that, by the way, Clever?
I think it was probably Like Clever's looting these bodies. Clever is the OG rogue. Clever is what does Clever find? It's probably like some personal affectation, like someone's like locket or something.
Yep.
Like a piece of jewelry that they found.
You're such a proto Corvid. I love you, Clever.
Anyway, you're now wearing that piece of jewelry around your neck.
Yes, I am. It's a trophy from my great warrior raptor. So I'm gonna make my way down and be amazed because, like, we basically just figured out a telescope's a time machine. It means time travel still works. So, like, pretty much everybody should be celebrating me. It's okay though. I'm just casually a hero. It's a time travel. Like, it can see in the relativity thing. It's a
I
time machine.
understand. I'm going to bed now. Just echoes like, you've said it 4 times. I'm
But
trying
it was
to
still
sleep.
cool though.
I know, but I can see the moon and I can't time travel to it. So I'm shutting my eyes now, Penny.
Fine. It's really cool, Clever.
I'll take first watch. I figure everything within a few miles heard that screeching noise, so...
As everyone beds down for the evening, Tego, you watch everybody start to settle in.
We retract the telescope, by the way. Just
Do you want to retract the telescope?
yeah, I mean, put it back like how it's supposed to be.
Okay. So telescope just begins to go back into the mountain. You see the doors close, and the facility doors, having been corrected, actually start to close completely.
And then settle in for first watch. Yep.
Okay. The night is going to pass without incident. As your friends are all sleeping, and you can hear the heavy, steady, rhythmic breath of a T-Rex sleeping nearby. And of course, Steenie, who is probably dreaming the way dogs do, just swiping the air with those lethal claws of hers while she's laying on her back. Tego, you can't help but think that you can't help but shake the feeling that the more you all learn, the more you realize that there's so much more going on here than just being trapped in the Cretaceous period.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to take our break because it's 1:30. So we will take a 10-minute break. We'll be back in 10 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody. We hope you had a nice little break. We're going to jump back into our game. And good timing because Gina just got back. Hey.
Mm-hmm. I don't know that she can hear us
Wait
yet,
till
but it's
Gina
good
gets
time.
hooked up here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so jumping back into our game.
Yeah, sorry that was so late.
No problem. Jumping back into it, we're going to pick up during one of the watches where Penny basically is taking their turn at watch a few feet away near a crackling campfire is Echo, who is starting to stir a little bit in her sleep. And you're seeing this, Penny, because it looks like Echo's having something of a dream. You can see like her facial features changing a little bit, and it doesn't look like it's a nightmare, but it does look fitful. Echo, what you're experiencing is you are alone at the campsite right now. There's nobody else around you. You just hear the crackling of the fire and the wildlife of night in the Cretaceous period all around you in the tree lines and the foliage, these towering trees overhead, and the moon above the night sky, which now is carrying a different context since some of you have gazed into it. And it's almost as though you heard someone calling out to you from behind, from far away, that you watch yourself turn and look over your shoulder and watch yourself stand up and begin to move towards this feeling, this call into the foliage. You're doing something that every instinct in your body as a Karn tells you not to do, walking into the foliage at night with no weapons. And there's this instinctual like brace, knowing that as a Karn, at any moment, you could be being hunted right now and not even realize it until raptors were on top of you.
Then I do the very smart, responsible thing, and I follow myself to have my own back.
In that dreamlike state as you're moving through the foliage, despite the fact that you are following yourself, you feel vulnerable and exposed out here. Instinctively reaching down to touch where you keep your knife, and it's not there. And ahead, you hear the crackling of another fire.
I'm still doing that thing where you're in a dream and you keep trying to read something or look at someone's face. She still just continues to reach for the dagger in case one of the times it shows up. And the physics of the way her hand is moving is never feels quite right. As she runs towards the fire.
Okay. You dash towards the fire. It feels like you're being watched. That Karn instinct in you telling you that you are being hunted, that there are predators bigger than you, as you've always been trained to be aware of as a butterfly and as a Karn in general. Again, what you are doing moves against your instincts, but you feel that call. You have to keep moving. And as you dash through the foliage, you enter a clearing where you see the skeleton of a great T-Rex in a sort of crescent shape, laying on the ground. It looks completely clean and ancient. And sitting in the center of that is a very familiar looking form, a hooded figure with scrawls like writing all over her face, down her cheeks, across her eyelids, across her forehead, a hood that's barely kept over, but you can still clearly see her features. And you can see the bones that she has tossed in front of her, this crackling fire in front of her.
I run to her feet and sort of drop to my knees in front of the bones and just whisper, "I told you so."
She raises her eyes, and when she looks at you, her eyes are completely black, and you just see the night sky reflected in them. It's not so much as a terrifying thing, as off-putting it is, but it looks like you're looking into the night sky, essentially. You can see the glow of stars across the surface of her eyes.
You were right. We do decide the future. We have one.
She continues to listen to you. Doesn't say anything.
The stars aren't going to fall on us. And I know it's a dream now. And I'm trying to use it. And I start drawing as best I can. I'm not as good as Penny is, but I draw around the bones that she has thrown. The sort of the maps that we've been looking at, the sky, the coordinates, but more in a artistic sense. And the comet that we're all waiting for. I draw us and the comet going, and I swipe across the dirt, but I don't cross out Earth. And I'm trying to imitate what I have watched storytellers, the tricks that they've used to engage people, the theatrics of it to convey this story that we've learned the last few days of what's going to not happen anymore and what we need to. And then I draw Silvercreek and a protective circle around it. And I'm putting the intention into the dream of protection. And then over the whole earth of just protection. And safety. And unity. And then I brush it towards her as if to indicate spread the word.
She seems to understand exactly what you're saying. And her eyes are watching all of this in the dust as she raises them back to you. And then she reaches her hand out and says, "Your hand, give it to me."
I lay my hand in hers.
She places the bones in your hand. I have been seeing into the future through time anomalies, as an Osteon does. I have tried to predict what will happen next, read the signs. Now you are carving out the next future for us all. This information is going to be destructive, and it will be a new beginning.
It already is.
And her hands slowly...
I slowly drop the bones one at a time.
You drop
onto
the
ground
bones and
for
you
her.
see 4 planets fall from your palm and hover in the air without touching the ground. It's these orbs.
Huh.
She
Do I
looks-
recognize one of them?
Yes, one of them looks like the one of them that Penny spotted through the telescope. And she looks just as surprised as you do, and her eyes widen as she stares at it. And as her eyes widen, you see the planets reflected in the night sky, approximate to where they actually are in the night sky.
Huh. Can I look into her eyes to see, like, because her eyes are reflecting the universe. So, and the planets are now reflecting in her eyes. Is there like, Penny said that telescopes are time machines. Can I look at these planets closer through her eyes? Since she is a time machine as well.
You look closer into her eyes, and immediately you feel terror echo.
Huh.
Because looking for the planets, instead, what you see is a skyline of Earth filled with cities, skyscrapers, flying things made of metal, and then fire, screaming, destruction. And you start awake.
I would like if she starts. I feel like Tego immediately
Knife out.
Echo's movement is almost immediately mirrored as she finally can get a grip on the hilt of her dagger on her side, while finally out of the dream physics. And so Tego and you and I just rise up together and
it's like I don't say anything. I just assume we're under attack. I just like look around and then like look at her like.
Well,
Easy, big, stabby warriors.
oh,
The 2 Karn having a Wolverine wake up from nightmare moment.
Yeah.
well, my plan's in motion, and also I think everything burned.
Excuse me.
Oh, sorry. Sometimes I don't say the thing out loud when I think I've already said it out loud. You know how we were running into the problem of maybe not everyone believing in science?
Yes.
Well, I took care of the superstitious part. I think the story's gonna get spread pretty quickly.
Apologies, Echo, but is there a chance that gas might be messing with you a little bit? I just had a dream that I was wrestling one of those river swimmers, and
No, it was Neri. She's a soothsayer. She
Wasn't
knows what
Mary
to
the butterfly you knew?
Yeah, she's been trying to curb all these intentions for a while. She's one of the butterflies that helped me escape.
Do you think this will take care of the butterflies?
They'll definitely hear about what's happening now. And now it's their choice to deal with it.
Yeah, but we ain't ready if they decide they want hostilities. They're preparing Silvercreek, but your sister Aldane, just her beast alone would tear through all of us. No offense, Goose.
Is Goose even awake?
Goose is ever vigilant.
I mean, it is River's watch, so Goose might be like simmering sleep, like come a little closer to the surface.
I mean, in the same way that sharks and sleep are like kind of a loose concept, because you have to always be swimming. It's not really like there's no deep sleep when you are in charge of everything, and also things want to kill you because you're in charge of everything.
Yeah.
But particularly since Echo started, like Goose hasn't moved. Goose knows there's no threat, but Goose is aware because the hunter is alert at a weird time. It's supposed to sleep.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you had a moment with your family. She seemed very kind from what I saw, but if they decide to come, say tomorrow or the day after, they will kill everyone.
I think it was very smart of Echo to find this solution, to speak to the butterflies in a manner that, in their own language, I guess.
It's coming from someone they trust more.
I think that while we can't bank on it 100%, thank you, Echo.
I'm not
You're welcome.
questioning the wisdom of having said something. That's your family and your business. What I'm saying is, once the word spreads, if those fucking fanatics decide that maybe destroying all of Silvercreek might set things right for whatever reason, it's all of our problem.
We can't
When we
dictate
ain't
what
ready.
others do with the information. I thought what we said was everyone deserves to know. And they're going to find out. And they're already coming. So this would have, if anything, trust me when I say that the fanatics within the butterflies chose my sister as their leader. And there is so much conflict in my sister towards good. I know that. And this blow to them will not charge them towards murder. If anything, they're going to be dealing with the ramifications of their own philosophies that are false.
They didn't strike me as overly introspective, but yes, River.
Look, it's the middle of the night. Echo's just used her dream powers. Let's sleep on this. I'll keep watch, and I'll have a really good idea for how to deal with this in the morning, I promise.
So you also might got a little more of that cave gas than you originally intended.
How come having a good idea is... Go to sleep.
Yes, Echo, we were supposed to tell everybody. I just thought we'd be behind some very tall, very thick walls when we did. That's all. I mean, I didn't even know that dream communication was a thing, so
I didn't either, but it turns out it is.
Also, my friend, you know I trust you with my life and all, but we got any way to prove that this was something other than just a dream? Like, if we're going about our merry way, assuming the butterflies know something they do not, what's our backup plan?
Well, our backup plan is they were coming either way, so let's get ready.
They just may or may not be willing to talk when they arrive. This has been quite a day. Quite a day.
Dago, you're ready to fight either way, so at this point, might as well exhaust all of our options of protection and communication. Like I said, not everyone believes in facts, and sometimes a story does a lot more than proof. And then she just kind of closes her eyes.
As the GM winces at the timeless message that Gina utters.
I would say Tego just sort of I feel like when they're out in the field like this, he sleeps laying against Steenie, but like right against her stomach. So when her legs are kicking, they're like out past him, you know? Just sort of like nuzzles in.
I think
Yeah.
River curls up against like 9 in a similar way, like right up his side. I think 9 has slept through this entire thing.
Oh, yeah.
9's like, whatever.
In his mind, like he's walking across those planets now, you know? Like,
Yeah, seconds later, 9 shows up in that dream.
I think that like my personal headcanon is that like 9 sleeps like the dead as long as he can like feel River next to him. And like the second she's gone, maybe that's when he becomes a slightly lighter sleeper. So she technically has never left his side at this point. So he keeps sleeping like the dead through this, I think.
Okay. Well, without anything else, we will say the sun begins to rise over Laramidia. A swift sunrise in a beautiful ancient land. And the cawing of flyers overhead. You can hear the sounds of the wilderness coming to life as the sunlight begins to touch things. Everyone kind of groggily waking up in the morning. What are your plans for the day? What do you all do?
Well, like Tego said, gotta start prepping. So
yeah,
it's exhaust all our options day.
We were promised a great idea, though, River, so I'm prepared to be amazed.
I think that was Penny as I rub my eyes. Oh.
It was dark. I must admit your small frames often overlap. Yes, Penny.
Okay. And I look to Clever, because we've talked this over very quietly at the early morning hours. Clever has sort of been my pre-audience for this, and for all of the other ideas that then I was like, no.
Clever shoots down bad ideas immediately.
Oh my gosh. Just so nippy. So nippy. Sometimes makes me doubt myself because it turns out also just like nippy. And you can't always tell if it's because of the quality of the idea, because, you know, Clever's language comprehension, or maybe Clever is bitey. But it encourages me to stay strong when there's an idea that I believe in, which includes this one, which is if Sati comes for Silvercreek, or the butterflies come for Silvercreek, or like anyone wants to fight Silvercreek, it affects everyone in Silvercreek, right? Like everyone around Silvercreek.
Yeah.
So they all have a stake in it, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, that's why you always fight at our side, even though you live in the area, yeah.
So, you know who else is in our neighborhood? Who wouldn't like a bunch of Sati and like butterflies
Okay.
and like butterfly dinosaurs, and I kind of look to Goose. Hold Stripe.
Oh, okay. So the gas is a fucking hallucinogen now. That's something we can make sure we tell everybody at Silvercreek.
River looks too clever and just goes, "Did you approve this?" just the most like disappointed head shake in the small.
And Penny puts their finger in their mouth where there might be a nip, a tiny cut when they hear that. And so, that's not the point. Like luring an angry dino onto something that's going to make it angry. That's not a bad idea. It's a good one.
Yeah, but
And we're good at that because we know Stripe, because Stripe is from our neighborhood.
no, yeah, but Stripe is a force of nature. How are we gonna point her at anything and not just get eaten ourselves in the process?
So is Goose, man. And Echo's got like a strange smile of just like, you son of a bitch, I'm in.
The gif of the game is a Rick and Morty quote. You son of a bitch, I'm in.
I mean, we need something heavy on our side because we know Aldane's got her beast, Sati's got God knows what. Please just explain to me in the smallest words that you can how any of you intend to get through to that thing that sees all of us just like walking snack sticks.
They all think that. Points at Steenie. We are all walking snack sticks, Tego. You just find the thing that makes them think you're less appetizing in particular.
Cut to the dirty 9 and then cut.
Also, as an OOC, Nines is super looking for time. He's been good this entire time. It's time like the breakfast of champions, time distortions. Yeah. So he like very much sort of like head to the left, head to the right, off into the bushes while everybody's discussing this. Like, yeah.
We'll hear him wherever he goes. If it gets too quiet, that's when I worry. But
it's true. When the trees stop shattering, that's when you know something is amiss. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, with those two traits that since you doubled up, 9 is going to find a time anomaly.
I would just say, especially now that he's specialized, like you've trained him well enough that like maybe he beats his tail on the ground 3 times when he finds something. Just like that's like the retriever point. You know, he's just boom, boom, boom. Also, don't die, Sam. You okay?
Yeah, you good, Sam?
Yep, my arm jumped and popped my elbow. That hurt real bad, and I don't like it a lot. Ow.
True.
You punched a ghost so hard.
True.
Yeah.
Screw that ghost.
You Hadoukened a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you should have seen the other ectoplasmic guy.
That was who was yelling behind Gina. That's it. We found the source of those disembodied voices and Sam.
It will come out no more. All right.
Mm-hmm. You shall
always
not
for you,
pass.
Gina.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, I would Tego essentially ask the dinosaur wranglers, like, how is this not instant death? Well, 9 is 9 saying.
9 is going to find a time anomaly. So 9's going to need to report back and get River to come see.
Yeah. What is it, boy? Did someone fall down the well? Jeez. Oh no.
9, I just want to say this, that when I was a young boy, my dad and my grandfather on the farm helped deliver a young baby cow, a bull, that was so big at birth they had to put his mother down afterwards because it was but that cow grew up to be dependent on humans. We named him Dumbo, and he was huge. It was huge. At the hump was like 6 feet. It was ridiculously large bull, right? And this bull loved people. Loved people. And one time even shattered the window of the truck cab because my dad got in the truck without petting Dumbo before he left. And he very casually put his head through the window and stood there until my dad pet him. And that is who I keep thinking about every time you describe Nine.
Definitely a
Dumbo
mood.
did not care. We called him Dumbo because his ears were so long, they dangled down like near his shoulder blades. They were so huge. And this bull was just constantly unaware that he was an 800-pound puppy or however much he weighed. And so that's like every time Nine kind of muscles up to you, River, it's sort of that adorable pain. Like it's this huge 3-ton ankylosaur just like, hey, Mom. Hey.
Yep. Where you were like, I am not armored. I am not armored. Yeah, right. Yep.
But hey mom, so are you she does like take like stumble a few steps back as you like your head nudges up against her, but she like knows this nudge, and so more time walk.
Get the tail slap, the boom, 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 and run away.
She didn't tell the group this time because she got the last 2 ciphers, I think. So how's everyone doing on ciphers?
I think everyone's loaded up.
Okay,
I've got 2. Are we only allowed 2?
You're only allowed 2 unless you have an ability that gives you more than 2. But if you want to replace a cipher, you can replace it with a new cipher.
Is it kind of like you have to immediately get rid of one before you can put your hand in?
You can choose to reject the cipher in this case.
I would love to go check because she's been holding on to that natural disaster one, and I don't think she needs it anymore. There isn't.
Okay. Sure. So you want to go?
Gina, if you want to, Echo.
Why not have a temporal time anomaly for breakfast? Let's do it.
Yeah.
It underscores how brilliant Nine's ability to sense these things are, because this time anomaly is actually towards the bottom branches of a tree that towers about 10 feet over poor Nine's little head. Nine not designed to look up. The ankylosaur that's armored back can look up the way a turtle could probably, the way a turtle might look up if it didn't have a neck. It's kind of like the stubby kind of, not designed to look above itself. If Nine needs to see what's going on overhead, Nine has to pivot the head and kind of look up like this. Has slipped out and found this time anomaly.
It's Batman from Batman Begins. You know
Yeah.
River's gonna point up to Echo and then go up to Nine and do the whole "Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?" and then like give him like a root that she carries around for him to eat.
All right.
But Echo, if you wanna, who's a good boy? Good boy, Nine.
Roll 2d10 as you interact with the time anomaly.
You definitely get a giant blurb, by the way. Giant blurb, River.
Oh, that's adorable.
Let's see what you get.
9. Just 9.
No kidding.
Yeah, doubles, because when it's a 9 and then double zeros.
Yep, that's
just
9.
Right?
That's so funny. 9 helped you find a...
Yeah, 9 gave me 9.
Yeah.
I hope it's a good one. If it's a stupid one, he's a cursed entitled for.
Yeah.
It's true.
This causes anybody by the name of Echo to implode. Whoa, what the hell?
I know, you're like,
roll
him the entire time. It was him the entire time. This is what said he crafted him to do.
Oh, I've seen this one before. Okay, roll a d6.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, is it fun?
Yeah, I think it's fun.
It's a 4 on the die.
For 1 minute, a user who normally can move short distances as an action can now move long distances instead. This is called burst of speed. You essentially see this is a cipher that will basically, you will be able to run as fast as a raptor on the hunt.
Dope. I just took the new run and fight talent. So.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's
That was great for
perfect.
you.
Nicely done. That will essentially turn you into a raptor. You can run up to long distance, which in Cypher system, That's the average range of a sniper rifle. So imagine being able to clear that in an action. You can just bolt. So touching this time anomaly, as always is the effect, you begin to see the luminescence creep through your nervous system, illuminating your organs on the inside. You can see your bones being highlighted against this luminescent sort of brilliant emerald green glow as it courses through your veins and begins to center around your calf muscles, your feet, the lower back. You see this glow begin to settle in for a moment, and you acquire a burst of speed and blend it into your DNA. The time anomaly begins to collapse.
My legs tingle.
All
Neat. Think I'm getting used to these.
Neat.
Nice.
right. Sweet. What do you guys do?
Make camp and attempt in break camp. Attempt in very broad terms to come up with something that sounds like Penny has a plan for this, but
Hunt
that
Stripe.
isn't actually how
lure
Penny
Stripe.
do.
Uh-huh.
Right. Step 1, find Stripe. Step 2, Stripe.
Well, Penny and River are particularly well equipped to hunt down a dino and find where it is.
We're really
all
good
know
at
that
this.
Stripe
It's just
lives in this area.
intuitive. I can't explain to Tego how we're going to do it. We're going to do things. We're going to see what happens. And then in response, we do other things. But Tego seems to want me to have something ahead of time. So I'm vamping as I break.
You're basically describing
Especially-
me as the GM and Sack's car telling me, no, you need to have a plan.
Right. Well, especially when you ain't gonna survive that thing you're trying to react to. Let me ask you a question. I might have something that might be able to get Stripe's attention. Echo,
Yeah.
I think we all know that Goose believes he's the rooster of our little hen house.
Yeah, that's a pretty safe bet.
Is it possible for you to get him to just call out long and loud that he's the biggest, meanest thing in these neck of the woods?
I wouldn't even have to ask.
Because you know how it is among our kind. Somebody stands up and calls on challengers, you gotta answer. So
Yeah, I've actually got a skill specifically for that. So you just tell me when, and Goose and I are ready.
yep, that might elicit a response. Penny.
All right, Penny, you ready? Because
Y'all are
Goose and
doing
I,
Y'all are fucking doing this.
I got a way to possibly get Stripe's attention.
Oh boy.
Well,
Goose finishes throwing down their gullet a small scavenger that came a little close to something they had decided was theirs and is now that's the breakfast of true champions. But like if Nyan wants to eat time, that's fine.
It is pure coincidence y'all are doing this when I had Stripe in the Dino Facts today, by the way.
Timely, 'cause now we know how poorly this can go and just how quickly.
Yeah, now
so-
you have an idea of how bad how poorly
Cool,
this
cool,
can go.
cool, cool, cool.
Appropriately, I, playing Penny, missed that slide.
I
And
will.
that isn't Penny in a nutshell.
I will just before they do what they're about to do. You see Tego grab Steenie by the face, and he's like,
all right, we're running interference. We're doing distracting. We ain't doing fighting, okay? You do not get eaten, okay? We're distraction.
I think that River is having a parallel conversation of maybe we should sit this one out, buddy.
Just to clarify, did I get heavy armor for Steenie, or was
"You
it
got
the
the
other one?
distraction ability." Yep,
Great,
you
that's
got-
right. The look at me.
You look at
Right.
me. Yep, you got look at me.
Great.
The jazz hands.
Look at me fondly.
For what it's worth, that extra armor wouldn't have saved you if Stripe decides it's time for you to die. So
So
yeah,
just don't catch me.
y'all
The
are.
easiest way.
that's it.
Yeah, this is gonna be interesting. Okay.
Are we doing any tracking of Stripe before?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
I think before I do what I do, we should track a little bit.
Sounds
Yeah,
like
get into the
River is going to be taking point on that?
Yeah, River would love to take point on that. And I think that the way that he plans on doing that is to Eric, leave. I
applaud my players. You guys are like, let's do one of the most dangerous things we could possibly do to turn the tide of an impending conflict. And I love it.
I love it.
Hey, okay.
Great risk, great reward.
I'm going to follow your lead on this. All right.
Listen,
you guys
Internet.
track Stripe.
But behind the scenes, Eric gave us some significant power boosts 2 weeks in a row, and we were like, "Why would we suddenly need all this other stuff?" I guess
I didn't know. I didn't have Stripe in mind when I gave you those. But
well,
here we are.
We did. Here we are. Yep.
It's true.
Apparently, we're gonna fight dirty. Let's do it.
All right.
the best. Okay, so I think that River would like to basically figure out like what part of town Stripe is hanging out in currently, and like almost like where in their cycle they are at. Like, are they planning on hunting soon? Are they not? I think she'd like to see if she can find any footprints, and then also just like any general destruction or like carcasses that seem like in line with like Stripe's.
You'll need to make a roll to find any of this stuff out. Yeah. So this is going to be like any kind of survival or tracking. This would be an intellect roll.
Can we do identifying?
Not. You would have to find the tracks before you could identify them. So I would say
Perception.
Yes, perception would totally count here.
Right. Let's do that then.
The
I'm trained in perception.
What's that?
I'm trained in perception.
Oh, okay. The difficulty of this is going to be 5. That you're trained, so that's going to immediately drop down to 4.
Great.
Is there anything I can do to help? Because I'm also trained in perception because of Steenie, because she's curious and I'm used to like keeping an eye on her. Is there any way I can assist?
You can assist. I think Penny might be good for an assist because Penny and River are essentially the same types. They're good at talking to dinos and tracking dinos.
And I have 2 stacks of wilderness navigation, and now I'm trained in listening and spotting.
Oh God, yes.
Things.
And you are the perfect. Yes, I'll give you.
I also have discovered dinosaurs. You scour the area within long range, searching for any signs of current or recent dinosaur activity. If there is or was a dinosaur in this area, you discovered its level and general type. Does that count, or is that?
Yes, that's exactly what you would need.
I would just like to say I'm specialized in thunder and lightning. That's what take.
I would say, Ray, because you have that ability, it does not sound like you need to roll.
Okay.
It's what you do. As a Teryx is your class, isn't that correct? So you're essentially the ranger class of predation. You and Penny both specialize in reading dinosaur behavior, tracking dinosaurs, and dealing specifically with dinosaurs.
Yeah.
See,
So
this is a dumb idea. Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to give you some basic information because you do come across Stripe tracks.
Okay.
Takes about an hour and a half of tracking, but it's not hard to find because you start seeing signs of a large predator in the area. You all already know that Stripe has made this area her home, but you do know that she is not always easy to find. That she has a very large territory that she's crafted for herself. And you do see her signs of her. You come across one of her footprints. Now, as a reminder, Stripe is about 26 feet long, weighing in at about 2.75 tons, which would make her about as heavy as 9. This is a big, big, dangerous animal that has teeth and claws comparable to a creature of its size, very similar to what Steenie has in terms of claws. The teeth of this animal, by the way, Lithranax, which is what Stripe is literally means king of gore. These are very dangerous subspecies of T-Rex.
I'm switching sides. I'm 100% down with this plan, having the king of war on our side. Yeah, right.
Yes.
Yeah, no.
I want this on our side.
Yeah, exactly. Like I rescind my objections.
Yes, it describes Lithranax as a mouthful of giant banana-shaped meat cleavers. The Lithranax can inflict huge amounts of damage, crush bone, and carve out chunks of flesh in a single bite. What you get, I will tell you, Stripe's difficulty level is 8. Stripe is a big, terrifying Lithranax.
We have ways of changing that.
Yeah. I will also tell you, because you would know this as well, without having to roll being a Teryx, Stripe has a couple of modifications as a Lithranax that they're known for. First of all, Stripe is highly intelligent and is not easily fooled. And critical thinking tasks, to give you an idea of what you're up against, critical thinking tasks are at level 7 for its intelligence. So it's not easy to trick. It also, this is terrifying. Its initiative is level 9 because of its hunting instincts and its speed for a large theropod. However, where you have some wiggle room is a Lithranax's single motivation. Lithranax's single motivation is hunger. And Penny, both you and River both know that you can lure this animal and trick it with food. The way you might say how you got Goose to chill the fuck out and not eat everybody. I mean, the Lithranax Stripe in particular can be lured and sort of gulled into with the promise of food and whatnot. That is as much as I will give y'all. The footprint is clearly Stripes. You guys have seen Stripes tracks before. The closest Stripes has ever gotten to Silvercreek was that night of the hurricane. But clearly, she has not left the area.
Yeah. So we need to find some good, because this is kind of the same principle as, like a clever. It's not like we keep them. It's just getting food is easier around us, and it then not being around us. So they stick around, and we give them things that are tastier. That's all. This doesn't have to be complicated. It's just very big and scary and vicious.
Okay. And you were planning on using Goose to lure Stripe in?
The question is, do we want a literal dead thing as a distraction, or all of us being the distraction in tandem?
I feel like we might classify as bait, but, being able to give her something probably ain't all bad.
I think it's better if something that isn't human, or specifically isn't us, is bait. I don't think we want to begin this relationship as bait. I think that is disfavorable to the long term where we are not bait.
I got bad news for you, Penny. That's already the status of our relationship.
But there's a better bait. That's the point. Stick with me, baby, and the bait is better. Can Goose maybe find something? Or
I was just
Steenie?
about to say, I think Steenie and Goose are probably well equipped to get some carcasses for us.
So, to be blunt, of the two of them, Steenie is the superior hunter. 9 times.
Don't tell Goose that. But also, I will say,
true, and it's one of the reasons why scientists believe that T-Rex was as much of a scavenger as they were an actual hunter.
Which is why Goose has scavenged at least once. That said, raptors are excellent because they're pack hunters, and that strat is OP. So I'm just saying the Steenie versus...
Also, we might just have a difficult time telling Goose to drop it.
That's really the problem.
That's the big problem.
Steenie's a much better... Yeah.
Here is the thing I brought you, Dada. Look, I killed a bird. It's like
Goose is like I ate a bird. Whom?
Yeah, I'm not letting this go.
Let me put it this way: a single goose hunting will need to come across an animal herd of some kind in order to get themselves some prey. Otherwise, I'm sorry.
I thought we're probably gonna have Steenie do the
I'm just
bringing
clarifying.
the carcass.
The reason why Goose would have trouble with this, because it's not like Goose can succeed on stealth checks worth a damn.
Right.
When a T-Rex is coming, the T-Rex would use the panic that is caused by its presence, much like a lion that's been spotted, to try to lure the animals into panic and snatching one. Steenie, on the other hand, can rogue their way through the underbrush and attack big foes and try to bring them down. Will need help though, because she does not have a pack. So if you're trying to get a big animal,
excuse me, yes, she does.
Okay.
But to be clear, if she brings down something of weight, we ain't gonna be able to move it. So she's gonna make her kill.
the blood smell's gonna go out. Goose is gonna do what he does, and if Stripe is around, she's gonna react pretty post haste. So, what's our plan when she rears her beautiful head?
Can Steenie injure without killing? Like, give Stripe some fresh.
Yeah. And I can summon pretty quickly.
I mean, I can ask her to just wound.
If you that's between you and your dino, my friend.
I'm like, how do I even get across this? You know what? Believe it or not, and I hate to say this, especially because Tego tries not to kill people. The concept of wounding without killing is probably something he's asked her to do it before. So I just like, you know what it is? I just like look at my leg and I just like scratch towards my leg and like push her face like out towards the woods. I'm like,
just slow them down for us. That's all you got to do. Slow them down.
Yep.
What tier are you, by the way?
I'm currently tier 3.
Okay, so that's actually going to drop your difficulty because the difficulty of communicating with your animals drops by every 2 tiers. So normally to communicate this with Steenie, you would need to roll on a difficulty 3. However, you and Steenie have bonded further. And now it is a difficulty 2 check. So you need to roll a 6 or better, and Steenie will understand the commands you're giving her.
That is exactly 6. That is exactly 6.
So Steenie, Dada is communicating play, no kill.
Okay.
Violent play, no kill.
Normally,
I feel like I reached in and I kind of grab her big like raptor claws and just like shake them a little bit.
So just as a GM, so I can understand exactly what the plot here is. Y'all are going to mortally wound an animal but not kill it, and use that along with Goose to lure Stripe to your location so that you can coax Stripe towards Silvercreek and essentially point a dangerous animal at the incoming enemies that you suspect are going to be showing up very soon. Is that correct?
Yeah, okay. Not tame Stripe, but at least get them.
You're trying to redirect a hurricane, basically. You're trying to get the wind to blow and that go kill them.
There may be more than one of these trail of blood crumbs.
This is possible. You guys can pull this off. As I said, Stripe is motivated by hunger. It's absolutely doable.
The principle of falconry.
We're
applying falconry principles to a proto bird of prey.
Right.
Wild. If you hit the close tab, it closes the tab. That's wild.
Rude.
I was like, bye, B-Dave. We'll let you know how it goes.
I'm like, never mind. I don't want to do this. I would just say what Tego is envisioning, it's the process of domesticating wolves was just, they just became accustomed to the fact that it's like, oh, okay, those things have scraps. Maybe we won't eat them today type thing, and it's just or even now you see those hyenas in Nigeria that they come all the way into the city to go to the butcher shop to pick up the scraps every night. And then they're just like super wild hyenas. But they just
that's exactly what we're doing.
Yep.
Okay. Let's be the butcher shop. And so Steenie, while you're shaking her claws, she gets it and she does what she does with the kids, and she tucks her claws under her. She does fists instead of claws when she does the straight back, but there's a little bit higher of shoulders because she's retracting her claws as much as she can as she bolts off into the wilderness to play.
Give her
There's
the
almost
slap.
a whistling sound from the burst of speed as Steenie dashes off the raptor that she is into the bush.
I will say, after she's gone, though, Tego immediately tries to keep up as fast as he can. He's not a match for that, but, I want to be close when whatever is about to happen.
Yeah, it's always a brilliant reminder of how deadly Steenie really is as a Dakota Raptor, because when she stretches out and uses that burst of speed, her body is level and unmoving as her legs pump her forward at an incredible dash. So she just launches off into the woods. It just underscores the fact that if this animal ever decided to kill one of you, there would be nothing on the planet that could stop it from doing it.
I just feel Nines is feeling fantastic because as fast as she is, he beat her in that race. So he must be so much faster than even
Nine
he
is
knows.
like, ha, amateur.
Yeah. Right.
Meanwhile, Goose towering over everybody is like, they have no idea that I'm on top of the food chain. They have no idea.
They don't
And
have
that-
to.
No.
And then there's
Clever. It's like, hey, guys.
Echo's gonna climb, just parkour up the back of Goose, with the pitter patter of, you ready? And I look down at everyone because I assume we're all sort of following Steenie at a specific pace a little bit. And should I make the call? Waiting for a yes or no. Is everyone ready? This is like are you all ready for this moment?
Hey, we don't know how far Steenie's gonna have to range, though. I feel like we at least need to wait till she's engaged.
The thing is, I might be able to give her something to kill. Well, not kill. I'm just gonna do it.
Do your
Use
thing.
this
Okay.
to flush prey.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So I'm gonna draw the pack.
Nice. Oh, that's a Karn ability, right?
Yeah. So basically, Goose and I are gonna send out a mighty roar that draws the attention of up to 3 creatures within range.
So the terrifying thing about a T-Rex that they have discovered today is there is a strong theory that indicates that T-Rexes didn't roar the way we hear them in Jurassic Park. And in fact, didn't even necessarily need to open their mouths to vocalize, but instead could make themselves very well known for miles around. And as you give this order...
Well, I'm doing it too. I'm
you're doing it too?
roaring. Yeah, the roar
So-
technically is my ability. So I'm
nice. So you're on
roaring
top
to
of
match,
Goose
which
nestled into this
signifies, my
Okay.
roar activates the double, like Goose roars with me when I do this because this is
Okay.
how we hunt. I roar, draw creatures towards us, and then
So if you can, imagine Goose like stretching their neck out to allow Echo to get to that height. And Echo on top of Goose, throwing your arms up towards the sky and curling your fingers in like claws. You let loose a raw, throat-tearing roar as you are standing on this crown of feathers on top of a T-Rex, screaming out into the woods, which is enhanced as Goose angles the head back and cracks the mouth open ever so slightly, and a baritone of begins to escape from this deep rumble. It sounds like rolling thunder across the valley. It's enough that the base of this T-Rex letting out its roar as it kind of slightly opens its mouth is enough to vibrate the bones of anybody standing nearby. And it ripples outward, causing creatures that were nestled in the woods, from small unevolved mammals to flyers, taking off to the treetops. It has the intended effect as this primal scream emits from the area. Steenie is bringing down the prey, which we'll say, for funsies, we'll say it was a Gallimimus that wandered a little too far from its pack. Just gets brought down by Steenie. Steenie is like immediately cranes the head up. You can hear the roar of both Echo and the T-Rex the T-Rex that you've come to know as the hostile best friend, just emanating. You can drag this prey back to their location, but you can also hear the rumblings of animals moving in the bush. Most of them moving away. One of them definitely not. One of them, about a quarter of a mile away, heard you. And as the roar comes to an end, I mean, you pull it up from the depths of your soul, Echo. And when the roar comes to an end, you just feel this surge of life in you. This relationship between predator and prey. The simplicity of that existence. No thinking, no anxieties, no thought about tomorrow, no wondering what you look like, no thoughts about what other people think. You are harmonized completely as a natural predator in this environment. And there is no denying you and Goose right now. This is your planet. This is your world. And woe to the poor animals that do not acknowledge that. And in the distance, all of you, in that silence that follows this primal scream, hear the ominous and alarming sound of a call and reply, definitely coming from a large sauropod who heard you and maybe didn't like it.
Well, that worked okay.
You hear the slight cooing of Steenie in the distance, trying to drag the creature back to Dada. So it's just like when like chew toy growls. Like,
by the time you drag this Gallimimus back to the entryway, its neck gives way underneath the pressure of your jaws, and you all watch as Steenie, very proud of herself, looks at you with the severed head of a Gallimimus in its mouth, and just like dangling like a snake out of it, with the corpse right behind it.
I wasn't supposed to kill it.
Unfortunately, Steenie is dramatically higher level than a Gallimimus, but the good news is it is a fresh kill.
You know,
And
I watch.
Littermax is a scavenger, so
I watch, especially when I see that she's so proud. If there's like a split second of awareness when the head comes loose in her eyes of what she's done, she still gets all the scritches. She says, "I'm like, okay."
Steenie,
all right.
to your credit, when you grabbed it and dragged it back, you had done exactly what Dad said. It just happened to die when you got here. That's not your fault.
Knowing the Lithronax is coming, having heard the roar, knowing she heard the roar too, I'm like, remember, we're the distraction. We are the distraction. We are not fighting, Steenie. And I turn her head when I'm like eye to eye when we're really serious with each other. Distraction.
You get like blinks, like really intense, like she is trying to process what you're saying, and she's like still playing.
Roll.
Like you see her hands are still bald. So yeah.
This is an intellect roll. Difficulty is 2. You need a 6 or better.
Oh, got a 12. She gets it.
Right. Yeah.
Steenie,
You see
Steenie gets what Dada is saying.
she understands, and it is unintentional, but she just gets a little something in her eye and she actually winks at you. And then kind of backs up and gets ready to play and like looks down at Clever and is kind of like wagging back and forth of like, we playing? Dad said I'm playing. We're playing. You playing?
Clever looks at this display for like a second and is like, what is going on? Immediately like there, like, oh my God, we're doing this. Okay. So you're wagging and Clever's like hopping from side to side, just like, we doing this. And for a second we dance. So I think that Clever is going to turn then and then dart off. And I think we're gonna run some laps together.
Yeah, Steenie follows perfectly in tandem because at this point Goose screamed, so clearly Goose has agreed to be in the team. and now little one.
Goose,
now little one play.
Goose, a rival predator is entering the area, and you can feel the presence of Stripe.
Did that raptor thing that keeps trying to play, is it playing with Stripe now? What is going on? I hate this. I hate this so much.
I am instinctively giving you the herding pact of like, this is the part when we corral so that you get snacks later.
Please
Yeah,
roll
you're
for delayed
scavenger.
gratification. Please,
Delayed
I'm so
gratification.
Sorry.
Okay,
Please
yeah.
roll. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Especially because there is a fresh kill right there.
Right
So yeah.
there. And you know what else is a scavenger? This guy.
Yeah. Yep.
Did she just get the kill for her and not for me? What?
As y'all lie in wait.
18.
Okay, we Gucci.
Okay. So Goose gets it.
Later. So much.
But Echo, the agitation, the body language of Goose, it is a predator who has acknowledged the presence of another predator, and the agitation. I mean, imagining, like, again, lions in the wilderness.
Yeah.
Realizing another lion from another pride is nearby in their hunting area.
Then with the 18, my communication is you don't get gloating rights over a corpse, so dominate to be on top of. You know what I mean? So that Goose gets the information of like, you get to live with the knowledge of besting the other predator, like the thing that they never got with Bragg.
You're appealing to Goose's ego.
Yeah, I'm appealing specifically to Goose's ego of like, you get to say I won.
I understand. Yeah,
That's
Hunt
perfect.
is a win. Scavenge
Perfect.
is an occasional tragic necessity. I understand.
All right. So we got about 10 minutes. So y'all wait here for a period of time that feels like maybe 10 or so minutes. And the wilderness around you has gotten very quiet. And it starts becoming obvious that something is approaching because you can hear the size of this animal moving. The last time you saw Stripe, she was just in the outskirts of Silvercreek, bringing down animals in the middle of a hurricane, stalking a panicked herd across the flats of the Tortix Run, just next to the river. Undaunted by the crashing of lightning and the primal storm that was destroying the landscape around them, she brought down prey and challenged everyone to try to take it from her. Now she's approaching. The first sign that you see her is those signature lavender-colored feathers that crest all up and down her back. She does not try a stealthy approach at all. And judging by the way her head is slightly dipped, you can even see those brilliant green eyes on the other side of the lip of those great big eye sockets as she starts lowering her head and moving into the treetops. All of you are starting to get an appreciation of this creature. Because as Stripe is approaching, you can see on the other side of that lavender-colored crest of feathers is this black stripe that just goes straight down her back and arcs out, like almost sort of like a Mohawk-style feather crest across the back part of their neck, giving them the signature name. This is the animal that took Skystone's arm. It has killed many hunters. It has been a plague on Silvercreek. For years, this animal the philosophy around Stripe has been just give her space, and when you see her, run your ass off. Now she's walking towards you all. Her head dips low. The first thing she does is spot Goose. And you can see the body language that theropods of this size give each other when it's basically, you know how bears will like rear up on their hind legs and dip their heads low and then just start making noises at each other. The opening act has begun as Stripe begins to enter the area. Growing closer, you can feel the subtle pounding of her weight on the floor of the earth under your feet. The soil around you, it feels like someone's banging a drum under your feet as she's approaching. Her head dips again and again, and you can hear the coming out from Stripe as she begins to angle herself in a flanking maneuver, like she's trying to challenge Goose the moment she spots. Looks at the kill, looks at the rest of you, and she's about 20 meters away from you all now. Stops and sways back and forth. Her tail begins to like sway. And again, head dips low again. It is causing a primal terror to rise in everybody. From Nine to River, everybody is aware this is the motherfucking king of dinosaurs. This is her land, and she sees all of you right now. She's scoping it out, and you see her, she just lingers outside the proximity. It's not just Goose that she's looking at this point. There's other predators here, and this is a new situation, but the smell of blood is heavy in the air. What do you guys do?
Do we have to roll initiative?
If you plan on attacking her, yes. Right now, combat has not begun. She is issuing a challenge, which means that if there's not a response soon or something to change the mind of this predator, there will be an initiative roll. She will come at all of you. Yeah.
So could we argue that each of us get a turn, as it were?
Yes, easily.
Cool.
Right now, she's initiating the challenge. So you've got a turn to figure out how you're going to respond to this.
Okay.
And those of you, especially the Terexes among you, you know that if this challenge is not answered soon, she is going to charge and try to kill everything she sees.
Great. I'll just say off the bat, Echo is activating her kinetic ability.
Okay.
So if I spend 1 round, which is what this will be, reading the body language of a dinosaur, I gain an asset on interacting with that dino for 10 minutes.
Oh, okay. So this is something you should activate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You got to take time to
I mean,
look,
I'm spending intellect for it. But,
okay, cool. Then let me just go ahead and narrate the outcome of that, and then we'll get to everybody's actions. Echo, you're watching, mesmerized, the beauty, the primal beauty of Stripe as she sways back and forth and eyes all of you. The hostility in this creature. You almost find yourself in sync with that powerful pounding heartbeat under that that layer of feathers. She is eyeing all of you up. So the body language that you're getting from hers, it is, as I said, a challenge to all of you. She heard Goose's cry, and right now she is murderously outraged at Goose in particular. But she also is eyeing you, because you too gave out that primal scream, and as a Karn, she heard you. And she's looking at you, Echo, like you are also a T-Rex in her mind. You are also a predator that is capable of challenging her territory. And so as a result of that, you begin to realize that one of the reasons why she didn't just come in guns blazing, as it were, is because she sees, in her mind's eye, she sees 2 T-Rexes in front of her, as opposed to just one adolescent that she can take down. So
Awesome.
she's paused at the edge of that perimeter.
Yeah, Echo just is got a smirk on her face of familiarity, and she's a little more prepared this time around as she rubs Goose.
What are you doing, Tego?
Yeah, give Steenie the distraction whistle. Because I mean, once the fight starts, it's too late, you know. So I'm like
He
doing.
studied at the school of Lark Sage, where they taught distraction dance.
Yeah.
And
But you know, the funny thing is the way it's written. It says through some trick of sound, movement, technology, or other special enhancement. So I guess I don't know what she does. I'll let you say, Gina. But the practical effect is it. Of course, I close it while I'm saying it.
What are you looking for?
Oh, look at me. The creature is dazzled for 1 round, which makes the difficulty of all tasks it performs modified by 1 step to its detriment.
okay.
Yeah.
So I guess you tell me what's Steenie.
Okay. So she hears the
I did pass the roll for the record.
Great. She hears the whistle, the very sharp, almost, it's like a inhale whistle, a very sharp one, and which is usually play. And Steenie, who has been like packing with Clever, lowers all as low as she can get, because that's what she does. She needs like there is an eye to eye element to her play, so she gets eye to eye with Clever as best as she can, and then kind of does like a break, you chase me, and is going to start doing sort of laps around, sort of like really intense figure 8 movement laps to distract as the big look at me, like ostentatious feathers puffed and just like, try and get me, Clever. Run.
It seems that. What's up?
Oh, I know what River would like to do, but when her turn's up, you go.
Okay, so the effect of this, as Steenie starts to dash around Stripe, it seems to have the intended effect. That immediate hostility of like seeing two T-Rexes in front of it immediately change as Stripe cranes the head a little bit, tilts it to the left, and begins to watch Steenie like flurry those feathers up a little bit and then dash in a non-threatening way, like pulling her knees all the way up to her chest, almost like she's dance running and like creating a ruckus. It's actually enough where every dinosaur companion kind of takes note of what Steenie is doing because it's a break in the tension. Think of it like a fight's about to break out and somebody just runs in front of the two contenders and pours a slushie on their head. And it's like, what? Like it has the same sort of random effect where all of a sudden Stripe cranes her head back and starts watching Steenie, and that challenging growl stops for a moment. And Steenie, which automatically causes the tension to drop significantly as Stripe is watching this display. Like, the fuck is this kind of like attitude of what am I looking at? What are you doing, River?
So I just took up friend to dinosaur. So using gestures, soothing tones, and other actions, or a combination of all three, you convince a dinosaur or other creature to regard you, or end up to creatures you designate positively as they would a potential friend. So I'd like to use that. And basically I want to convince Stripe that this is playtime and that they are welcome to join in.
Oh my God.
He is going to like try and direct.
Is there a role to this, or does the ability just let you do it?
It just says action.
Then you get to do it.
Yeah.
This is an ability of the Terex class. You are a ranger. Terex is like a beastmaster. So so this is what happens as you guys basically sow Stripe. You move forward, River, and throw your hands open and start kind of like gently cooing at Stripe. And now, Penny, being a Terex yourself, you're aware of what River's doing. And it's also worth knowing that as somebody who is intimately familiar with dinosaurs and their body language and how they act, you see what Penny is doing, or what River is doing, is actually, she knows what the fuck she's doing. Like, you're watching her body language, you're like, oh yeah, this is what she does. It's a little scary watching River move forward on her own to get the attention of Stripe. But that hostility with Stripe, you all feel it slowly simmer down. With being distracted at that point, Stripe is looking at Penny and then glances over at River and then stays locked on River, and River just continues to coo as she approaches.
Yeah, I say she continues to coo and is trying to direct Stripe's attention towards the play that Steenie and Clever are engaging in. And it's like, okay, come on with them. They're your friends now.
So Stripe doesn't look like she immediately engages with a command.
Yeah, fair.
However, you see the crest of feathers begin to lay back on her back. And that threatening posture of the head dip has stopped. She's kind of straightened out a little bit. Goose, imagine if there were two dogs. One of them was baring their teeth, and all of a sudden the other one just stopped for a second, and then they were still, and then one of them started sniffing the other one, and then there was a lick, and then there was a tail wag. It's very similar in that as soon as Stripe begins to calm down, it feels the challenge is being dropped. And Stripe doesn't move. Stripe just kind of sways back and forth and is watching Steenie and now watching River as River remarkably calms this legendary predator.
Then Goose got direction from Echo and understood this scavenge thing is Stripes, but you said there were other little predators that were trying to, do little scavenge. So, in a thing that Stripe, deflecting aggro from the one-on-one with Stripe, Goose is going to establish dominance by eating something live that might have threatened Stripe's kill, which Stripe might find helpful. But the important thing is that I'm better than her.
So what is Goose doing specifically here?
Goose is going to eat one of the little scavengy predators that you said were starting to sniff around the kill.
One of the Bambi raptors?
Basically taking out a potential, like, some other source of challenge to Stripe, but also establishing I hunt. Just like Echo said.
Okay. So
de-escalating from the 1v1,
it's
redirecting.
Almost like Goose is acknowledging Stripe as alpha and is as a beta is pushing away any of the other predators that were going to take the kill.
You could put it that way.
Goose never would. The beta would be the enforcer, and you're basically chasing predators away to allow the alpha the kill.
I'm like, who would be so gauche as to say it out loud, though? Yes, right.
How dare you? I am hunting. I am killing something. Stripe's just eating this thing that Steenie killed. A little Steenie killed this. How impressive.
So despite the size of the brain, Goose is able to perform mental gymnastics and rationalize that this is in no way a losing phase. And what is Penny doing?
Yeah. So Penny's, having observed where River is going with this, Penny wants to work in with it and present the kill while conveying non-challenge. The important thing is associating easy source of food with these people you see. Easy source of food, people you see. Because usually we just run. This would just be an easy kill to Stripe. If we're trying to build anything, I want to build it on the basis of something Stripe cares about, food. It's here. It's more convenient around us.
It specifies that Lithranaxes are very difficult to train. And it says, as a general rule, they're not particularly smart and training can quickly turn into a surprise game of predator and prey.
Yep.
But if you succeed on this roll, you will have pacified Stripe. So do you have an ability or are you rolling against their difficulty? Which would be 7.
That's lowered from Stevie's
6.
subtraction.
6.
And there is an asset from Echo's observation.
Oh, right. So 5.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm rolling, and technically I can clear that. I can lacy through.
Okay.
And one quick question: did Clever also get the look at me? Because we also have Clever is also look at me, but I don't know if they've had their turn yet.
Because I know that's something you specifically took. So we'll lower it 1 more. I mean, you guys are basically Sam doesn't have to roll. This is gonna drop to a difficulty 0.
Yeah.
So Penny backing back towards the kill. Everything that's going on, you see with enough of just initiating all of these skills and using what y'all know about dinosaurs, especially because through your dinosaur companions, you've all learned how to tap into that other side of them that does not immediately respond to threat. You've learned how to channel the predator in each of these creatures, the protective aspects, the animalistic instincts in all of them to bond. And you see Stripe take 1 step forward towards Penny and then another, and watches as Goose moves away and actually snaps at one of the Bambi raptors and chasing off these smaller predators. Watching all of you, Stripe lingers above the kill and watches and waits. And there's this moment of, is this happening? There's this moment where, is she going to take it? You know, if you cross that threshold, you're in. And Stripe watches all of you, swaying back and forth, that curious swish of the tail, that stiff dinosaur tail that counterbalances the immense weight of this huge theropod. She dips her head low, turns her head sideways, and begins to immediately devour the corpse. And when you hear the sounds of crunching bone underneath Stripe, all of you feel this surge of adrenaline, realizing that when we come back for our last episode next week, you're going to have an ace up your sleeve for any of the unlucky sons of bitches that come to make trouble in Silvercreek. Well done.
And they said
That
it was
a
the bad
total party
idea.
effort. That was a total
Hell yeah.
party effort to basically lure. She's not tamed, but she is now no longer challenging the group, and she now has a level of trust towards the group, meaning you will be able to point her at things in the next episode. But keep in mind, they are very difficult to train, even more so than a T-Rex. Lithronak's pretty single-minded, so it's going to be like having a living weapon, and you're going to have to get real smart, because once she gets turned loose, if she gets into a fight,
we do just sort of need a ones and zeros. Do eat, don't eat. That's it. Although I will tell you this is a story. I know we're running over, so I'll tell you fast. There's a commercial that had it was like a wolf growling, and this MMA guy with Pat Miletich was in the commercial with the wolf. Like he had to act like he's fighting near it and stuff. And they were like, we have to film literally everything before the snarling. Because when we antagonize the wolf to show its fangs, the wolf is done performing.
Yeah.
That's the last shot of the day. Because the wolf is no longer acting at that point. Yeah. Similar principle.
Very, very, very similar to that.
We're like, do a murder. Okay.
This is the first time since Callisto 6 where you guys have gotten a Pokemon.
I know, I'm so happy.
Where you turned a lethal enemy into a potential ally.
Caught the biggest Pokemon in the campaign that you gave us the whole time.
Yep.
It is officially a Stream Punks production.
It's true.
Yeah.
Next stop, Robo Pokemon. That's season 2.
We ran over, but man, it was worth it. I can't believe this plan worked out. But I mean, really having 2 Terex in your party is what changed everything. And then that luring in with the Karn, just like, man, if I didn't know any better, I'd say this was like the moment for your characters. This was like where we really got to see the Karn and the Terex come out and in conjunction basically turn Stripe into your weapon.
We got a pack, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the day we became a pack. Wow.
All right. That's going to wrap it for us here today on Secrets of Silvercreek. Definitely check us next Saturday. It's going to be our final episode. So definitely join us for the big finale. And we're going to find out who is it that's going to come to Silvercreek, who's going to challenge and try to gain that technology. And if there are any other secrets that might still be lying in wait.
Let's be honest. Who isn't coming?
Who isn't coming? Y'all
We're
have a good
full
one.
Battle of 5 armies here. It's fine.
Guess who's coming for murder?
Mm-hmm.
Please wear a mask. Please stay healthy. Take care of yourselves. We love you all so much, and we'll see you next Saturday.